Right now on Full Custom Garage, master metalman Ian Roussel tries to turn a wild cartoon drawing into automotive reality.
I like having clients that are all on board. You know, they think I can accomplish anything.
Why not just give him the stuff and let him go?
He's got this clown car and a bunch of used parts. So it's got a long way to go, baby.
I think the only person that can pull it off is Ian.
But when things go wrong,
See already, we're off.
Ian's client is halfway around the world.
I got that picture you sent me, and holy.
It would be easy to just stack parts. I'm trying to make it look like the drawing. Everything's getting changed.
As Ian takes the project to the next level, this could be his biggest challenge yet.
Going into this bold-faced and fearless. My friend Mark, he's a great client. I've done a bunch of projects with him. The last project Mark brought down was a Henry J. He says he's got something newer and wilder than anything we've tried so far.
You know, I'm very fortunate to be one of Ian's clientele. I like Ian just to let his creativity take over the project because however radical it becomes, the better it is. Love your weather down here, man. This is gorgeous.
Came down from Canada, and he's into the wild stuff. Definitely not into the restoration aspect of things, and that's right up my alley.
I can show you this before we actually show you the project to be. Originally, this whole idea came about by a drawing, and he's the only one that I can think of that could actually pull this one off.
He said it was a Volkswagen.
It's a Volkswagen.
Shows me this drawing of this pretty wild cartoon hot rod. I'm all on board. So it's like a front-engine Volkswagen bus hot rod thing. Just like the Ed Roth monster cars, this is right in that vein. It's just a new style on it. And I think pushing it forward is always really cool. So I was excited to see what Mark had in the trailer.
This isn't like the last thing I brought you.
Okay.
It's in a little more disrepair.
It's a mighty short Volkswagen you got there. It was not what I expected. Here come the clowns. Must have been a rare factory option. Mark pulls out this shortened VW bus and just a ton of other random parts from the trailer.
The drivetrain on this thing is, it's out of a 1965 AMC Rambler. You know, very unique, you know, you don't find them anywhere.
A fine piece of machinery. This engine looks pretty rough, but Mark says it's a runner. I don't mind seeing a crusty old engine. It's all about what's happening inside. I know we can clean and paint it. Well, somebody stepped the chassis down pretty good.
This came off a 34 Plymouth rat rod that I had bought. So I thought, well, let's throw AMC running gear in a Plymouth frame, and then now we're gonna put a Volkswagen body on it. You know, let's mix up all the...
I like having clients that are all on board. You know, they think I can accomplish anything. Unfortunately for me, the anything gets wilder and wilder. The big challenge is to make it look like the drawing. The stuff Mark's pulled out of the truck looks nothing like what we're going for.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a one-of. I have my own ideas of the way this thing is kind of gonna look. To me, it's kind of rat rodish. I said, Ian, let's make this rat bus.
Mark's talking about rat rod. He wants something kind of easy to build. You know, I'm looking at this drawing and I'm seeing full custom show car, like all the way.
My time frame's kind of short. I'm kind of rushed down here to drop this off.
This is just a quick pit stop for Mark. He's heading back up north, so I got free reign to make this thing happen.
That's the excitement. Didn't Forrest Gump say it's, you get a box of chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get? Well, that's kind of the way it is with me and Ian.
The cool factor about this setup is it's a complete bolt-together rolling chassis. I just assemble it and move on to the good stuff. I want to bolt this chassis together and then set the body in place and see where I got to cut. Hopefully this thing is square. I'm gonna have to measure off a bunch of stuff, but the good point is there are motor mounts, there are suspension mounts. Already I can see this whole frame is bent. You can see this angle here, the way it comes into the motor mount. It's pretty close to square. That one's way out. When you run into a crooked frame, that's your base of the whole driving component of the vehicle. So this thing's gonna wanna drive off the road if you let go of the steering wheel. That's probably why it was scrapped. That turns my whole world around. I'm back to the beginning. Typical basket case, that's what I specialize in. So this frame is gonna need some kind of modification. Seeing that this is bent, it's always an indicator of something else that's gone wrong. I'm just gonna bolt it all together, get it rolling, and just see where we're at. Double check everything we've got. All right, so that's a roller. I was really looking forward to just doing the creative, aesthetic portion of this build. After the situation with the chassis revealed itself, it's like I gotta start from scratch. I'm gonna cut this chassis up, man. It's the only way around it. So we're on to plan B. The frame is bent. My idea is to use the existing components in the chassis, fit them up around this engine in a proportion that looks most like the drawing. Mark says this engine has been sitting for a while, and a typical statement of, ran great when it was parked, turns over, it's not seized. I'll clean this engine up later. I want to get it in place and mock the whole car up around this engine. I learned this technique when I was 5 years old, playing blocks in the living room. It's the same process. I got an A+ on that course, by the way. I cut up this van for a project I just finished. We only used the chassis and the mechanical components. I cut the whole rig in half. While I was doing that, I was thinking ahead to this, and I saved all the sheet metal parts that we're gonna use for this one. So I'm just down to pieces of sheet metal, which is a great starting point. I don't know how much of it I'm gonna use, and that's why I gotta mock it up. So according to our schematic, there's a large hole burrowed straight through the center of the donor vehicle, and then is inserted up to the valve covers on the engine. Let's try that. I'm always really excited about a project for the first few days because that's when all the inspired stuff happens. The fun part is just the possibilities of it. You know, at this point, it's just a blank canvas and I can go in any direction I want. That's really the spice of the whole project, is figuring out what you're gonna do. This drawing is done by an artist named Johnny Jalopy. He does a lot of really far-out car illustrations that exaggerate reality. So my challenge is to take these proportions and the flavor of his drawing and transfer it into three-dimensional steel. The whole thing in starting off is just getting the parts physically on the floor, see what their dimensions are. I have a feeling this project is going to be all about proportion, and there's nothing resembling typical car proportions that I could see so far. See already, we're off. See, this is showing a short wheelbase, the tire intersecting the corner of that door. So you can see the tire should be as tall as that handle and come way forward. Mark brought this set of white wall tires. A tall, skinny white wall would be the best option, and they're just really hard to find. Mark has these two, and I'm gonna try to make them work. What I'm trying to do is make this tire look as big as possible, and the only way I'm gonna get that is making that body smaller. Well, it's apparent this whole thing just got way more involved than I first considered. By looking at the drawing, I can tell that the nose doesn't look anything like it. The doors are way out of proportion. The A-pillars are wrong. The roof is wrong. So really all I'm seeing using as a starting point is like a bare skeleton. I'm gonna cut it long ways, short ways, sideways, up ways, and down ways. Well, the whole thing with this chassis is it's set up as like a T-bucket hot rod. You know, it's a short wheelbase, big engine, big tires. That's the look. My challenge is to take this utility vehicle and somehow morph it into this cool hot rod shape. If you ever sat in an early model pickup truck, 34 Ford for instance, they're miniature. So this is just getting closer to those proportions. I basically just need to shorten the door by a foot. Any moving part, once you start sectioning, it starts to get a little sketchy. I chose to leave all the latching mechanisms and the hinge mechanism in place. That way I had a 3-point reference, 2 hinges and 1 latch. By leaving all the factory components in place, it's just a huge time saver. All I did was cut through the sheet metal and put it back together. I think I'm onto something. This is looking good. I like the proportions of the lower half of the body, but there's really no other way to go about this other than to recreate an entire new top of the car. We're not out of the woods yet, man. This is a good start. Before I get carried away with the body design, I need to build a chassis to support it. In order to get this frame squared up, I put it up on the table, cut it apart. I got it all squared up, jigged it on the table, started from the front, and just connected it all the way through. Using the dimensions from the mock-up, I moved the engine and the suspension brackets just to get them as far forward as possible. I wanted this thing to be low. So I Z'd the chassis and set it up to be super strong. In order to achieve this really short wheelbase, I took the drive shaft to a machine shop and had it splined, 22 inches shorter. With the chassis done, I'm finally where I want to be, so I can focus more on the creative part of the build. I'm gonna put this body on and see what's up. What do you think, Hellhound? Do you have anything to say? Huh? I was looking at only portions of the drawing, and I think I got those details nailed. The next step is to figure out exactly how long the rear of the bed's gonna be. So I'm gonna bring in the 2 quarter panels and mock those up. Wait a second. This quarter panel's in really bad shape. Look at all this body filler. You start cutting into old stuff and you see everybody else's modifications and repairs. The old Bondo bucket. That's the thing, it's all delaminating. Look at this. What this is an old repair. Somebody in their grand wisdom decided to rivet the panel back together after either rust or collision, and then used a metallized filler in place of a proper welding job. So this whole quarter is junk. You're pulling the paint off of a project, seeing what's beneath, you know there's gonna be body filler. It's typical old car stuff. It's really a bummer when you see rivets, cancer, really bad body panels. So this is a pretty big curveball. The driver's side turned out to be really good. There's a little filler through here, but this one was never creamed. That's totally usable. The plot thickens. I'm gonna put this good quarter panel on and see how it looks. It's all about moving forward. You can take that to the bank. I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at that, and I'm very happy with it. His picture shows the bed being a little bit bigger, but I think this nails it. The shorter bed makes the wheel look bigger, and that's a win. The remedy here is to build the vehicle with this nasty quarter panel, and the last thing is replace it. The drawing only shows one angle of the car. There's a lot of design elements that I gotta come up with. There's a VW show coming up in town, and I want to get some inspiration. I've been living, you know, out in the clouds. I want to come down to earth, see what people are doing with their cars, and it's pretty darn conservative. So I see all of these single cab and double cab VW pickups. That's exactly what this drawing was based on, so it's good to check them out in 3 dimensions. The early split window VWs have that unique V shape in the nose, and then of course the split flat glass windshield. The one we're using is a later model. It has a curved glass windshield. I could see how you would short step this whole process by using one of these early models. I don't really like to take a nice early car and chop it up. I'm all about taking spare parts, making something cool, a resurrection, if you will. My task here is to use the parts I have, make it look more like the older VWs, and of course, as much like the drawing as possible. I think I can make it happen. I'm trying to move this thing along. I pulled the engine out and took the body off the chassis. My friend Jackie's an artist, and she's gonna help me paint this engine. Everything's looking good. She's got the first coat of red going on, but I knew there was a couple things I didn't want brush painted. All right, Captain, I got a plan.
What's the plan?
We're gonna paint the valve covers black, and then the whole chassis is gonna be the same thing, spray can black.
Got it.
I think the red looks great on the engine block. I think if we paint these valve covers black and then detail out the rest, it should be good. So,
Oh.
yeah, that's trouble. I'm thinking I'm gonna take these valve covers off so I can spray paint them, and underneath was just a disaster. What?
That looks awesome.
What's going on in there? There's some kind of stalactites in there. There's all kinds of corrosion. I don't know where this engine's been, but it looks like it was underwater.
So we're gonna have to clean it all out?
I don't know what we're gonna have to do. This could be toast. What is this? Look at that.
Okay.
It's pure gunk. You always know you're gonna hit walls. There's hurdles to overcome, but pulling these valve covers off and seeing this massive blob of corrosion, it like takes the wind out of your sails. I'm gonna talk to Mark. Let me take a couple pictures of this, because he's gonna be interested to see. Mark's whole gig from the start was using the existing parts. The entire chassis is built to support this driveline. So this engine we were committed to, he said it ran great when he parked it. Everybody says that. This does not speak towards that event.
When did he park it?
I think he parked it in 1959, the year before they assembled it. My design is reliant upon this engine, so I gotta talk to Mark and see what his game plan is. Just keep coloring it, at least it'll look nice, sitting in the corner, if I don't kick a hole in the freaking door. Mark is in Afghanistan. It's hard to get a hold of him, so we use text messaging pretty regularly. Yeah, Mark is in agreement. He writes, "Dang, that looks very bad." He only has access to the computer at certain times, so I'm gonna set up a Skype call with him for later. It's all about moving forward, you know? It's kind of a bummer, but there's plenty of more creative work to do. All right, so today's adventure, that does not look like that, so I'm going to make it. How's that sound? The drawing shows an earlier split window. We've got a later bay window bus. I want to make this look just like the drawing, so I have to build a whole new windshield frame and dashboard. I just took 2 pieces of sheet metal, put them in the brake, and created this flange that the window glass will attach to via a rubber gasket. Next, I made some cardboard templates that'll represent the glass. Then, I built the top and center of the frame. The roof on the drawing is a super unique shape, and I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen. When I was at the VW car show, I was looking at a bug roof from the back, and it just gave me an idea. I have one of these domes, and it's just way more pronounced than the bus roof. If you really look at the Beetle, you'll see that towards the windshield, it flattens out. It's the most curvy right above the back window. So I cut the rear portion of the roof off and stuck it on here backwards, and it worked perfect. What's not to like about that? That's it. See, his drawing has a really nose-down attitude. You don't even care. This is a breakthrough. This is a moment. It's roof still needs a lot of work, but just to get this dome and put it in place is a big breakthrough. That's the proportion. I'm using this round tube to create the front of the visor on the roof, and this is going to represent a drip rail all the way around the perimeter. Just slapping a piece of sheet metal on, looks pretty loose, ragged, so this gives the sheet metal a definite formed edge. No sharp metal, nice rounded edge, and it's strong. Now that I see this, I am genuinely impressed. It looks great. Pretty committed to replicating the drawing as close as possible, but in working with these metal shapes, I think it's given this windshield area an even cooler look. This is just a little more radical. You got some really cool dimension as compared to this, it almost looks flat. It was nice to end the day on a positive note. I'm going to talk to Mark about the engine situation tomorrow. If we can't find another engine, then this could really set us back. I got the whole front windshield established. The next big challenge is the rear portion of the cab. The drawing doesn't really show what's going on back here, so I'm leaving that open to my interpretation. I got a cool idea where I'm going to utilize the rear tailgate of the van and split it in half and make two. The portion with the rear window will be back here, and then the lower portion with this detail of the body sheet metal will stay here. Being that the cab is so much narrower, the whole rear window frame and the rear hatch have to be reconfigured. It'd be nice to just cut it in half and put it in place, but all the proportions are changed. Taking all the leftover pieces of the car and just refitting them in a way that the hinge mechanism will work and the rear hatch will open and close smoothly. It's just way smaller. So, you want to ride this thing, don't you? I know I do. That opens, you got your breeze. There's room to cruise, man. It's gonna totally work. So, the second part of this is the lower hatch. I'm gonna leave the center. It's twice as much welding. And put both sides inward. This is gonna be a tough one to let go. This is coming out cool. Look at it, it's a miniature Volkswagen. It's tiny, it's great. Even though we're making progress on this thing, I can't get this engine dilemma out of my head. It's finally time to talk to Mark and figure this whole thing out.
Ian,
Hey man, how's it going?
over in the sandbox again, but yeah, I'm here.
It's amazing, modern technology.
I got that picture you sent me yesterday, and holy, I apologize for that engine, Ian. I didn't have any idea it was that bad.
It happens.
I've been researching that engine, and I guess AMC, they don't make a lot of them, or they don't make a lot of parts for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like hen's teeth. You can't find nothing for it. I'll find you another engine, because that whole enclosed drivetrain, I mean, it's kind of a one-off thing. It's
That was my
too
big
far
concern.
into it now.
It's absolutely critical to get the same engine and transmission because it couples to this rear end. There's an enclosed drive shaft, splines are a certain pitch, and of course the engine and transmission mount is already in place.
It's not as simple as just swapping out the engine unless we find another AMC.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, I don't want you to change what you've already done. You've got way too much work and time into the way it looks right now. It looks awesome. So I'll get a hold of my boys back up in Canada, and we'll just start a search. You just leave the engine in my hands, and hopefully I'll get a home run for you.
All right, cool. After talking with Mark, I was glad to hear that he'll get a duplicate or replacement engine. I should just carry on, and that's good news for me. Before I finish up the roof, I just wanted to wrap up a couple loose ends on the body. The rear quarter on this van was toast. It was really rotten. It was buckled in. There was no other way around it but to replace it. The interior of this cab is so small, I'm just trying to add as much room for a person to drive in. I wanted to get a good solid structure created before I finished off the top pillars. So just having everything here rigid is what I needed to set up so nothing changes shape. With the structure of the lower portion of the cab in place, now I can finish the roof off. The roof is a pretty complex shape, and I think this will be the most challenging part of the whole build. So I'm gonna lead off this restructuring of it by creating the door tops. The whole idea here is creating a nice clean door gap straight through, as well as adding support. In the end, this is all about the exterior look of the thing. You just gotta look kind of like a production car. So I'm gonna have to come in with a triangulated patch to create that radius evenly to the drip rail through here somewhere. Just like with the rest of the project, I've got my blinders on. You know, I'm working through one portion at a time, nailing that and moving on. So I get this drip edge finished and realize the part I wasn't looking at is this internal bracing. The location of this rear arch is just all wrong. You know, his drawing is pretty slick. I'm just trying to keep that vibe and bring it all the way around to the parts you don't see in the drawing. Putting this bug roof on backwards, nailed it. It looks just like the drawing, but I want to make sure that the slope curves gracefully down into the rear of the cab. I don't think that thing's doing anything. I think I can sawzall that right off. Famous last words. If I set this up with a big, tall, 90-degree rear panel, it's just gonna look weird. It's about being efficient. At this point, I could always cut way too much and patch back in, just trying to make one join, one seam across the top of the roof. And I think it's time for the old envisioning tool. Critical element in every build is the envisioning tool. You know, I don't know who else uses one of these, but I've got a number of them. To get this roof right, I'm gonna have to just focus. So you see, anything could happen with this roof line. So if that's coming up like that, I got my two marks. Yeah, see, that's kind of baseball hat style right there. The whole purpose with this technique is to just see how the roof line is gonna flow out. With the original structure in place, it was gonna look like a big hunchback. What I'm trying to do is just take this curve and make it flow gracefully right into the visor over the windshield. The whole thing about this roof and my enjoyment of it, I guess you could say, is just that I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. No preconceptions, just letting the metal tell me where to go. Thought I was gonna use this piece of the old van roof, but it was it's a lot less of a radius than I had anticipated. See, they put this little ridge and then the roof really just flattened out. I need to carry that up all the way to here. I was gonna make one. So the rear portion of the roof is gonna be scratch built. I'm gonna use the slip roller, set it up with a curve, just kind of hand form it into shape and weld it on. Hey look, it's gonna work. So to tie together the whole rear of the roof, it was the same story as the front, just a piece of round tube, just made two corners and then a center section. Each time I join the tube, I'm putting a little sleeve inside. Just helps you line everything up, tack it in place, and just move around the perimeter of the roof. This roof's got to be symmetrical, so I'm just starting with the center portion to get that arch going over the top. The left and right quarters are going to have to be made independently. It's a really complex shape on each side, and keeping them symmetrical is the goal. This is like a giant puzzle, you know, and you don't realize what the puzzle looks like until the pieces are mostly into place, and you still got some loose holes to fill in. Sometimes my dyslexia comes into play pretty well. These rear quarters are pretty complex. I'm thinking it's going to be the easiest way is to just create a series of triangular shapes, tack them together, and then hammer and dolly them into shape. So this metalwork looks pretty raw. It's got a lot of welds. That's just characteristic of this fast-paced work I'm doing. Yeah, actually from this view, that's the drawing. It's totally got the feel of it. The thing that did it was the raking of that drip rail. No car does that. Only a drawing does that. You can see he's showing a really high crown over the whole thing. I thought I was losing it in the rear area, and it did come down a bit, but it's still pretty hyper-exaggerated. Getting the roof figured out was a big hurdle, a big success, but I really want to get this engine figured out. I'm gonna get on another Skype call with Mark and figure this out.
Ian, how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, good, man. I am out of here in a day. So,
Oh, cool.
And I'm stoked because I got some news for you.
Yeah,
I have an engine.
right on.
I'm out of here tomorrow, so my plan is to get home, get this thing loaded, and I'm driving it down to you, and we're gonna put it in this buggy together.
That's great.
The sooner I can get it down to you, the sooner I can bring this thing home. I'd like to bring the van home with me, because otherwise I'm just coming back with an empty trailer. But I'm there to help you, buddy, so whatever it's gonna take, but I'd really like to bring this thing home.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about that.
What's your time frame?
Well, I'm out of here tomorrow. So it's 2 days to get home, another 2 days to get there, so within a week, buddy.
Okay.
What do you think?
How long you staying? 6 months?
Oh, is it gonna take that long to put the engine in? Or what?
I don't know. I'm still.
I could stay a week.
Okay.
You can do it? I know you can.
Oh, I could do anything. Yeah, sure.
I thought I was making good progress on this, but Mark tells me he's gonna be here in a week, and he wants to take it home with him. I got a lot to do to wrap this thing up, and only a little time to do it. Even though the fabrication is not 100% finished, I needed to get this filler on here, compare it to the drawing, and just see where they're at. Just getting this thing skinned out so that it has its final appearance is a huge hurdle. Have to get finished with the last few elements of fabrication, firstly being the dashboard. I slept with this under my pillow last night, and I thought that I saw something in the dashboard. The drawing isn't very revealing on what the interior of the thing looks like, but I see this little bulge in the line of the dashboard, so I just want to incorporate that element. I'm all about just making things go quickly. So instead of forming something to be the dashboard, I got a pile of stuff, and I think I could find what I need in there. I just need to get away from this bodywork for a while. So instead of standing here in the same spot, I'm gonna move over 10 feet and dig a hole under the table. Something like that. This is a piece of a semi-truck exhaust. I'm thinking the dashboard's gonna be a semicircle, so any tubular shape. It could be a muffler, could be an exhaust pipe, who knows? I got tons of round metal shapes, and if I can find one I can cut apart, I just put it back together. I think this tube will be perfect for the dashboard. As long as it's long enough, I can split it in half. The idea is cut this thing in half, then I have twice the linear footage, mock it up in the body and see where I need to splice it. The whole idea here is simplicity. It's just gonna be a rounded shape for the dashboard, and then an element in the center that represents that curve in the drawing. This looks kind of cool, but I think it just looked better with a larger diameter. Just make a pretty good dog bowl, huh? Single serving. Muzzle, come on, muzzle. Want some water? Thirsty? Come on. Went to fill the dog's water bowl, and I had an epiphany. Wait a second. I was all set to mock up one of those other shapes on the dashboard, and it just occurred to me that I was filling up the perfect thing to go on the dashboard. I think we're just gonna trade out somebody's water bowl. Here you go, drink up. Look at that. Now that is a shape. Stainless steel. You need this? I didn't think so. Right away, I can tell this dog is attached. He's had his face in this bowl since he was born. So there's a level of attachment. I'm gonna have to break it. This is being repurposed. It's just part of what we do here. I know, it's your favorite accessory, but look at that. You have that look of detachment in your eyes. It's time to grow up. It's time for a next chapter in his development. I can put some kind of a gauge right here on this face. This is gonna be painted and finished like the rest of the car. I'm just looking for the right shape. Don't look so concerned, man. I'll get you another one. As soon as I put a weld on this thing, you know, the aroma was coming out. He could smell his saliva just roasting, and I could tell he knew something was up. You know, I'd have to taper him off, talk him down, but he came through all right. The dashboard is a really cool element, and I just wanted to look finished. I had these other little shapes that were for some water filter project. They're just little domes. I spliced them into the end of the dashboard, and it just finishes it off. Instead of seeing a rough sheet metal edge, it's a nice curved element. This is a pretty minor detail, but you need a dashboard. I need somewhere to put this set of gauges Mark gave me, and I want it to look like the drawing. Up to this point, I've been working from a line drawing, and that's really helped with the building of the structure of this. Johnny sends a color picture. He's got this really vibrant, kind of toy race car feel. To see a colored in rendering of what the whole thing's supposed to look like, that gives me an idea of the finish. I got this Cruise Night blue metallic from Eastwood, and I added some blue metal flake on top of it. I want to finish the dashboard and paint it first, just to see how it looks. This dashboard is just one hurdle along the way. This is a marathon. Seeing the color rendering of the car really made me want to make this paint job nice. The whole idea with a finished paint job is that it's mirror straight. The easiest spots to pick out are your long, flat panels. Second thing is all your edges is just trying to get these lines razor straight. This portion of the process is really something that I've been fixated on because it takes the metalwork to the whole next level. You can do great metalwork and everything, but it's always gonna need this type of finish. The better metalwork you do, the less filler you're gonna need. I got this 3M Platinum Plus body filler, and it lays out like nothing I've ever used. It's totally smooth, there's no air bubbles in it, and it sands really easy. Once I got the body work done, I was ready to move on to paint it. In an effort to stay true to the drawing, I had a guy who does stickers scan this into his machine and cut them out on his vinyl sticker cutter thinger. The whole thing with this project is proportion. If I just stuck a generic number 5 on the side, it wouldn't look like the drawing. So just like the rest of it, I'm gonna try to tailor this graphic on the door so that it fits the proportion of the vehicle, and I think that's just gonna nail it. I'm gonna use this template and make a stencil to paint the graphic on the car. It's basically a 3-color design, so I need to mask it off for that. I've been talking back and forth with Johnny all throughout the progress of this. When he sent me the color drawing of this thing, I could tell he's really pumped.
I could never imagine anybody taking a drawing of mine and building it in real life. Of course, it's a dream. You know, those are the things you hear of the legends did that stuff. You know, the Ross, the Barris, you know, guys like that. Those are guys that took creation from a paper and made him a moving machine that turned into these entities on their own. When I first heard about it, one of my friends on Facebook had messaged me that he saw on Ian's page a post with a picture of my drawing saying, you gotta give the people what they want.
I sent Johnny a message, told him, hey, we're gonna build this thing, what do you think?
And at that moment I was like, really? Are you kidding me? Cheesy to say a dream come true kind of thing, but you know, it is, you know, that's.
I'm glad that Johnny's on board. Super excited. It makes me really want to do this thing right, get all the details in order. With the metal work, you're creeping up on an end result, but the paint work, you don't realize it until you peel back the wrapper. The whole thing with paint work is it's all setup time. Just like with the block sanding, this graphic takes a ton of time to lay out with the tape work. You don't realize the reward until you peel back the tape, so it's all prep in any paint job. That looks great. The 5 is definitely bigger than the original one, and it looks like the drawing. I'm stoked. Getting this tape peeled back, I could see that all the work I did with the razor blade and fastening the tape to the door came out with a really good result. Yeah, look at that. Looks like a giant cartoon. Seeing this thing come from just a pile of parts to where it's progressed to now makes me just want to keep on pushing, make this thing into a full custom show car.
On the next episode of Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel continues the transformation of the cartoon hot rod.
He can make anything out of nothing.
Back of the cab opens.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. Our plan was here. Ian takes it to here.
Mark pulled the engine out and I could tell this dude is serious.
But when things go wrong,
My heart just sank. Ian's looking at me like, you're right.
and with his client out of the game, Ian switches the lineup.
While Mark's gone, I really want to surprise him. I want to make some progress on his Henry J.
I leave the guy for a day and a half, and I come back, and bam, truly amazing.
With the team back together, it's all hands on deck.
Mark is out of his mind. Johnny is totally charged up about this. There's sawdust everywhere. There's parts and pieces all over the place. We're in the trenches.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel continues the transformation of the cartoon hot rod.
He can make anything out of nothing.
Back of the cab opens.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. Our plan was here. Ian takes it to here.
Mark pulled the engine out and I could tell this dude is serious.
But when things go wrong,
My heart just sank. Ian's looking at me like, you're right.
and with his client out of the game, Ian switches the lineup.
While Mark's gone, I really want to surprise him. I want to make some progress on his Henry J.
I leave the guy for a day and a half, and I come back, and bam, truly amazing.
With the team back together, it's all hands on deck.
Mark is out of his mind. Johnny is totally charged up about this. There's sawdust everywhere. There's parts and pieces all over the place. We're in the trenches. I don't know what I signed up for this project.
Nobody else is going to have one.
Mark shows up with a bunch of used parts and shows me a drawing of this cartoon hot rod. He said it was a Volkswagen.
It's a Volkswagen.
First thing I had to do was straighten out the bent frame. Then I needed to cut down the body to fit the proportions of the drawing. And reform the entire roof. From the onset, Mark's been referring to this project as his rat rod. I just think, looking at the drawing, I can go way better. The drawing showing a finished show car, I'm gonna try to go in that direction as much as possible. Looks like a giant cartoon. I built the whole car around this AMC engine, but it's toasted. Yeah, it's trouble. I'm in deep. Here it is, Mark's on his way. He says he's got a new engine, and I got a couple things to show him.
I kind of put a little pressure on Ian when I was over there. I said, okay, I understand about the engine problem. I'm going to take responsibility for that. I'm going to get you a new one, and I'm going to personally drive down there and bring it to you.
Is that record time or what?
Oh, I tell you, man, how you doing?
This guy surprises me. Flies in to Canada, he gets in the truck and drives down to Los Angeles. It's pretty ambitious. I guess you're in a rush.
Oh, man, it was get her done and get her down here for you.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited to show them what we got and to see the body in real life. Now, you ready for some bling? I got a little bling for you.
Ah, that'll work.
Figured that'll work.
That looks just like the engine you brought before, but this one is nice.
This one's out of a 1966 Rambler Ambassador.
It even matches the paint color. That's cool. Mark pulled the engine out, and I could tell this dude is serious. That's definitely the same transmission. I think this will just bolt right in. He's really dialed this engine in. He's all about getting it here. So I'm gonna show him what I've been up to. As soon as you said you were gonna handle that engine, I got real serious.
Holy, are you kidding me? He rolls out this body. Not only is it bodywork done, it's frickin' painted. Oh, man.
Mark was stoked. He saw that blue out in the sun, metal flake shining. I don't think he was expecting me to go that far with it. He was talking about a rat rod. I don't know, this doesn't look like one to me.
This is not a rat rod anymore. This is a frickin' show car. Wow.
I had Johnny send me some vector images of his graphics. He just did a computer-generated thing, and I had templates made at a sticker guy. So it's actually his 5 artwork.
It's killer. Like, you nailed it.
Mark seemed genuinely impressed. I don't think he was expecting it to be that nice. I made the back window open like this.
Oh.
The back of the cab opens.
That's just freaking awesome. You're kind of turning me into a Volkswagen guy, you know?
That
This
happens.
is number 2 for me.
That could happen to even the best of men. First vehicle I ever built for Mark was this radically chopped VW Bug. He's been a fan ever since. So the good news is we got a great looking engine and we have a great looking body. There's still a ton to do. I'm not gonna believe that engine runs till I hear it.
To prove myself, we had to get this motor in this frame and fire it up.
Mark's really into this. He's been shopping. He says he's got some rims and tires.
You've created it so much like the drawing,
Cool.
I had to come through. Plan B has arrived.
Yeah, you definitely stepped it up on this. Let me show you what was going on with the other one. All good intentions aside, he sent me a bunch of rusty junk.
Yeah, wow.
This engine was not usable, and it's great. He backed it up. He brought in the freshie. I gave him a quick rundown on what went down with the chassis. He knew I had to modify it, and he was really excited that I made the decision that I did to shorten it up and lower it.
Good choice, as usual, you know.
I think as long as this engine couples up to the drive shaft, then you win.
All right, well, let me grab my tools and
Cool.
let's get started on this bad boy. The biggest problem when the engine scenario first came up is that we had to find an AMC replacement.
At this point, we are fully committed to this engine. The notch in the body is tailored to these cylinder heads and the location of the distributor.
They have an enclosed drive shaft, but there's splines on that have to line up with that. So now we're not sure if the 65 model would line up with the 66. Who frickin' invented this?
Don't put your fingers in there.
No.
I learned that the hard way.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, lower it down, I guess she'll come together. Here we go.
You know what? This thing fits like it belongs here. I think Mark is really up to something good. Aha! There it is.
There it is.
Fits just like the other one, sir. You got just enough to put a finger in there. It's exactly how the other one fit, the same. You know what, Mark? You're all right. I take back everything I said about you last week. Changed my mind. Man, that looks good. It's like a show car, sir.
Oh, yeah. Now, if it just runs,
Yeah.
I might win a couple more brownie points back from you.
Yeah, it's
And
all
then-
fun and games now. Let's put some electricity to it and see what you're really working with. Having an identical engine was really a saving grace. The engine fit perfectly. It was a perfect bolt-in. It looks great. I just need to see it run. Just to get this thing to fire, you know, we hot wired it. Set up a fuel pump, put a couple wires to the starter and the coil, and I just want to fire it off, see what's gonna go on. Prepare for Operation Vacuum Suck.
Okay.
What do we got? Where's the plus? That's the minus, that's the minus.
We're off to an awesome start. We got nothing.
Guess what happened? Nothing. Strike 2. Here we go. Mark's off to a record start. Well, the pump worked great when you took it off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your track record, man, is like...
Hey, gotta have a little bit of drama.
Uh-huh. Did I hook up the wires wrong? Nope, sure didn't. That's not part of what I do.
Come on.
Uh-huh. He started off with a bunk engine. Now he's got a fuel pump that doesn't seem to be operating.
My heart just sank. You know, okay, the fuel pump's not working. Ian's looking at me like, really?
It's a typical simple thing, you know, those fuel pumps, when they sit around, they tend to not work again, and that was the case here. I'm gonna take care of you, don't worry.
You got plan B for plan B?
Yeah.
He had one, so we moved on to installing his electric fuel pump.
I know the suspense is really getting to you. You're on the edge. Is that tight? There's one last thing I'm gonna give you before we start. Here you go. That's how much faith I have.
Now, this is a different coil too, so. But I do
excuse
have
to
the
start.
old original one.
Oh, just one thing, just one other thing
Just
I
one-
have to mention besides the fuel pump. You ready? I'm ready.
And this one day at band camp.
I'm ready. What could possibly go wrong? Aha! Hit the starter, and hey now, it works. All right, man, you're okay after all. You know, I had faith. You're not even gonna need that fire extinguisher today. I think you're good to go, sir. I'm very happy with that. That sounds like a good engine. I think it's on to the next. Johnny's drawing is showing no radiator in the front. You just have this bare grill shell, and that's a cool look. To me, that's the most important factor of the nose of the car. Hiding the radiator in the back is the only way through this. I made all these crazy tubes to get the liquids from the front to the back. This is crash course in plumbing. I'm having to plumb these lines from the water pump under the vehicle into the radiator. And it sounds pretty easy, but when you realize how cramped and small this car is, there's a lot of bending and fitting. Mark's handling all the stuff I don't want to deal with. That can't be spoken any easier, simpler than that. The nice thing about Mark being here is he's going to handle all of these mechanical elements I don't have to deal with.
I seem to get every dirty job that Ian doesn't like to do, wiring, and which I don't mind. I'm here to help. I'll do whatever he wants me to do.
I'm very busy. He's got time to kill. Even though for me this isn't the most thrilling part of the project, I want to make sure all the mechanics are dialed in before we put the body on. It's an issue of scratching the paint that I don't want to do. I'd say that this thing is ready to put the body on. How do you feel about that, Mark?
I'm in. Let's do it. I'm anxious to get the body on there and stand back and just look at this thing for a minute or two before Ian cracks the whip and we're back at it again.
Wait till you see this getup, Mark. Your prized vehicle is about to be lifted in the most cockamamie, backwoods manner you've ever seen. The way that I work is a little bit different than you'll see in other shops. Open that door, we're going through. So I got this big stick, a couple welding gloves, and a forklift, and we're gonna put his show car together with it.
I'm kind of scratching my head going, really? Is this how we're going to do it? I mean, it seems a little unorthodox and unsafe and not stable.
Mark was a little alarmed with my technique. You know, he's a certified helicopter engineer guy, right? And I don't think they're putting any airframes together in this manner. I got the forklift, I'm on the controls, Mark's balancing the body. The fate of his show car is literally in his hands.
Definitely not a one-man job. I don't know how he was doing it before, but the way the body goes, it's got to come down the back first and kind of hug around the frame, and then the front drops. And if you go straight back, you're out.
This is the whole deal. I've never seen this painted body on the chassis.
That is one sick ride.
Oh, we'll look at it from here.
Oh, yeah. Man.
That is pretty cool.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. Our plan was here. Ian takes it to here. Words can't describe it. It's just so close to the drawing. It's gone from paper to real life. It's a phenomenal piece of fabrication.
This thing's cool, super cool. Once I saw the body on the chassis, it got my mind spinning. I think we should take this thing to the Pomona swap meet on Sunday. It's a week away.
Now he tells me, well, we have to get this thing finished, assembled, and running because we're taking it to Pomona swap meet. And I went, what?
Pomona's just a huge blowout. It's a swap meet, it's a car show, there's cars for sale, there's everything going on. I think he'd really dig it. Putting the body on the frame looked really cool, but there's still a few things missing. The drawing is showing a frame, the actual frame of the vehicle, showing through the fender well. I got a plan. I'm just gonna fake it.
Carry on with whatever linkages you're doing. I'm gonna get on this thing, because that's gonna take a little while.
Okay. As minor a fabrication as this is, I need to have this frame detail come off convincingly. So like most things, I'm gonna start off with a cardboard template. Watch your toes, razor blades. Razor blades in action, easy now. Every time I have cardboard on my hand, he thinks it's food. I don't get it. It's like a, you know, like a pizza box or something.
It's too bad dogs don't know how to cook. They could eat all the time.
He associates cardboard with a food container.
There you go, keep yourself occupied.
Ian's fabrication skills, I mean, phenomenal. He can make anything out of nothing.
I got all this aluminum, and I was thinking about making it out of this, but I'm just gonna do a quick test. I want it to look kind of like dimpled holes, not just simple drilled like this.
A pro would have a dimple die set. There's a few different ones. One's like a press, one's like a thing with a bolt that you clamp it together. I don't have any of that. How can we do this? I think I have an old piece of plywood. Got a top to an acetylene bottle, and I got a BFH. That's a big bargain hammer.
I'm kind of working away, and then there's loud banging going on. So he's in a creative mode, and who knows what's going to pop out of it.
Dimple die. I think we're in business.
With Ian, it all relates back to that drawing. It's like it's embedded in his head. It's becoming that drawing in real life.
The dimple die would naturally want to mar this surface, so it has this plastic sheet on there. So I'm gonna finish out these edges. Probably put some kind of a lip on here and just make a bracket that'll hold it. But you see, you got these cool dimples.
What's that look like, huh?
Looks like the drawing to me, right? The goal today is to get these installed, have all the cosmetic parts ready for final assembly, and I gotta paint the headers.
Once you see this in place, it just adds that factor that was missing. When you see the white coming out of the fender well, it's giving you the same feeling as the number 5 logo and the white on the roof. It just brings that color down low in the body. I worked on a couple other projects where there's this amazing glue. It's kind of like a crazy glue, and then it has an activator, so it's an instant cure. So it's pretty trick. You definitely don't want to get it on your fingers.
So this will just get held in with 3 screws. There'll be one on the bottom here, and then these 2 tabs get welded to the frame. So it's just on little legs. Stands off 3 inches from the chassis. This thing is perfect, man. Check this out. It looks like the frame is going right through, like it's an actual chassis. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Can't believe you just whipped those up.
Perfect.
That is.
The other fabrication element that's missing is the exhaust headers.
Couldn't find any headers to fit this strange engine as it is, and no need when you have Ian Roussel on the job. He just fabricates what he needs.
I actually built these headers before the car was painted. Mark really liked them, so I explained exactly how it went down. I really liked the way the T-bucket style headers looked in the drawing, and I wanted to mimic them as close as possible. I used 1.5-inch round tube. The first step was just cutting the tubes and welding them to the flanges. Then I used the tubing bender to curve the tube and make it slope back towards the car. The real mark of the craftsman is how these pieces fit up, so just taking small cuts makes it happen. I used the plasma cutter to cut a hole in the main tube to get all the pipes to fit up and actually flow exhaust gas. The whole idea with this fit up is that once it's welded, it just looks clean. You don't see the welds. These things came out great. They look just like the drawing. I ground and sanded out all the welds and they're ready to paint. I got this ceramic coating that's specifically for exhausts from Eastwood that cures with the heat of the engine. I've used the spray can style high temp paint before, so I was expecting this to come out similar, but as soon as I started spraying it out of the gun, it coated amazingly.
I think this is a really cool looking exhaust you fabricated here. This just ties everything together. Unfortunately, I have to leave to go to a helicopter convention.
Mark's gonna leave for a couple days. The car's in a pretty good spot. We're waiting on upholstery, so while Mark's gone, I'm gonna surprise him by doing some work on another one of his projects. This car's in a really good spot, so I really want to surprise Mark by working on his Henry J. This is a 51 Henry J. It's one of the first projects I did for Mark. He dropped it off about a year ago. It's a long-term project for us, and Mark wants to make it like a pro street car. I chopped this car just about 4 inches, but it was way more than that. I had to reform the entire rear of the car, widen certain panels, and then I also welded and smoothed up everything. So there's a lot of work in it, as rough as it looks. I was really happy with the way the chop came out, but I really want to put a roll cage in it before he gets back.
It's just been mocked up, laying there under a tarp. This whole car is just a body skin and a bare chassis. It's like a blank canvas. I can do whatever I want in here.
The cool factor about this car is there's no drawings, there's no blueprints, it's all me. Mark's planning this to be pro street. In other words, he's driving it every day if he wants, but he can also take it to the track. I want to make this thing look cool, but in the end, it's all about strength. If you bought a generic cage from a catalog, it's designed to fit a number of cars. If I build one that looks like it belongs in this car, then that's cool. It's gotta look custom. The strongest shape you use in a structure like this is the triangle. Every point that gets triangulated is super strong. If you have, hey, there we go. If you got a square box, it can fold over on itself very easily, but a triangle, it doesn't fold, right? It's putting leverage around it. The whole idea with the roll cage is to create as many triangulated shapes as possible. The big problem with roll cages is they do take up a certain degree of room inside the compartment.
The way that the Henry windshield peaks forward, it's just gonna be like a bar hanging in space. I'm trying to get away from that. So I'm gonna put a little V in the front.
And you figure out how the material bends and you come up with creative plans to fit them inside of the cars as closely to the sheet metal as possible. That way you offer the driver and passenger a maximum amount of room. Sort of like that. Another principal factor in the whole thing is that it has to be modular to a degree. It needs to unbolt from the chassis and also allow the body to slip on and off easily. Every time you join a piece of tubing, especially in a roll cage, you'll want an internal sleeve. That allows the bond to be way stronger than if you just butt welded it. The difference between this project and the cartoon hot rod is that this roll cage is purely functional. So it's kind of rewarding to know that your work is sound, it looks good, it's gonna function. My brain is spinning just as much as when I'm doing something incredibly creative. The whole difference between this and the sculptural element is there's just a lot of numbers and parameters involved instead of just the purely visual aspect. This isn't a huge challenge. To wrap it up, it's just trimming away a certain area of the body rocker panels. That way I can lift it off, finish welding the cage, and paint it. So you could see, it's a secure environment for any race situation. That's the whole idea. Now I'll be able to get around the top of all these welds without the roof in place and paint it. Eastwood gave us this 2K Aero Spray in chassis black. What you do with this, you push it in and it releases the activator. So it's like mixing in a mixing cup, but you just shake it. So this stuff should set up overnight. I got this thing nailed. I'm sure Mark will be back here expecting to work on the other thing, but I'm gonna show him this. It's been under the tarp for way too long. Should get him fired up. I was really intent on getting some progress on this thing by the time Mark got back. He hasn't seen this car in like a year. Hey.
Whoa!
Just in time, sir.
I leave the guy for a day and a half, and I come back, and bam, there he's got my Henry J out there.
I wanted to see some progress on this thing while you were here, you know?
Wow, I haven't seen this in a while.
Been about a year, right? He showed up, and he was just charged up. I mean, totally surprised. I think he almost forgot about it.
Yeah, that's looking kick-ass. We came down here to do something else, and now he's working on my other car that I haven't seen. I've forgotten all about it. He's put a roll cage in it, got flip front end on it.
I showed him this tilt nose that I made. He's totally digging it.
He just decided what looked right, and boy, I tell you, I come in here and look at that thing, and it's right.
I know you're all about getting that hot rod in the trailer and back home, but while you're here, you know, just for me, I want to keep projects spinning. This has been in the corner stagnant. I think if we spend one day on this, it'll be in a really good place.
Sure.
When Mark first dropped off the car, he brought in this fresh rebuilt rear end and an engine and transmission. So it was really just a bolt in.
New axles, new bearings, new everything, new true track in there, new gear set. So I'm hoping it's gonna be enough to turn these big tires that are on this old girl. Doesn't that remind you of a 70s car?
I think the last thing we need to do is just fit the engine and trans so we have an idea of how heavy they are, what that does to the front suspension, ride height especially.
I'm excited. It's been sitting here tarped up in one of the mini barns. It's a 454, dynoed at 502 horsepower. And so Ian now wants to mock that up in there, and I'm all for it. Let's see if this thing fits. Much like any other car, you know, you figure, well, let's just slide this engine in there and let's see how it's gonna go. And I think you're gonna see some issues. First one's gonna be that oil pan.
The Earl pan. Always something.
We're not far enough in to clear the Ford crossmember. We had to lift the body up, kind of shoehorn the engine in there, which is huge. It's just a monster engine inside this small little car. More issues. We're banging against the firewall, which has already been cut out a fair amount.
I don't have a problem getting the Sawzall right now, Mark.
Hey.
This is a massive engine. The car never dreamt it would have something like this installed, so I'm having to cut away the firewall. Prepare to operate.
So Ian cuts more of the firewall out, so now I have a huge gaping hole.
Mark is a little concerned about this, but this is what I do, you know? I'm just gonna cut it, make it right.
Actually, we're clearing it now. Just bring it down, Ian.
Dropping down, watch fingers.
Yeah, we're good. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at the springs went way down. Okay, unhook it from the
Yep.
wheelie. The rear ride height looks great. I mean, that was already established, but I never saw it with an engine in it. I want to put the nose on. We've never seen it with the nose down
No,
attitude. It's always
that's,
been
That's
light.
more the stance, definitely.
Grab it right in the headlight shell.
Aha!
That's it. The stance was perfect, exactly what I was looking for with the car. Ian, I'm stoked that you worked on this. I mean, I go away for a day and a bit, and I come back and, wow, I'm inspired again.
It's just what we do here, sir.
And then he goes, well, you know what? Let's throw a seat in there and see how it fits you. I'm game. Yeah. Is that not cool or what? This has been a dream come true for me to come down here and actually help out and work with Ian and see how he operates. That's what I got to say about this. Truly amazing.
Progress on the Henry J was right on the money. I couldn't have asked for a better response from Mark. But we need to get back on the hot rod and get that thing ready for Pomona. I sent Johnny a picture of the car, and he says he's coming out from Florida to see it in person. The whole mission here was to make this look like Johnny's artwork. He's really itching to see it, so I want to get it driving by the time he gets here. All we got to do is finish the wiring, got a few more parts to install, we're ready to go.
Remember this?
That's what I sent you?
A little bit different than when we got here.
Wow.
The story with the front grille is it's an actual Model T piece that Mark had. He got it at a swap meet, but it only sort of resembles the drawing. What I did was I shortened it up from the bottom, I put an interior structure in it, and then found this really cool mesh at Industrial Metal Supply, and bodyworked it, painted it up.
I just gotta let you know that in aviation, the insulation you've done on this bolt is incorrect.
What? What are you talking
It's supposed to be in the direction of flight. So, and when this thing starts to fly, it's gonna go that way.
Well, I'm pretty well versed in space travel and mechanics of that nature, and none of that applies to where we're going.
Okay, so we're just gonna do a little function check, see how good my wiring skills are, and see if we got fuel pump first. Sounds like we got fuel pump.
Mark's really been working it out, you know. I know he's a perfectionist, so he gets the fuel pump in, got all the lines ran.
As they say in helicopter world, clear.
Hits the key, starter's cranking.
I expected this thing to fire right up, just like it did when we first put it in the frame, but we're not getting anything. I say we got a firing order issue.
Call a mechanic, fire him.
Who wired this?
Glad I'm not in his helicopter.
Yeah. So we do the normal checks or whatever. We found some issues with the spark plug wires. This little center coil here has to be curled over, so it's making contact with the copper connector.
I predict as soon as he gets these wires connected, it's gonna light right up. I just know it.
If this don't work, I'm going home. Huh. Same issue. You know, you're heading to the goal line and all of a sudden, bam, you're stopped, you know, and it's frustrating. Oh, wait, whoa. The cap's turning this way.
Counterclockwise?
Yeah.
Strike one, plug wires. Strike two, distributor rotation.
What's going on?
Umpire's getting feisty, man. He's almost calling the third strike and you're out.
Am I? Good. I've always worked on Chevys all my life. So what did I do? I just put it on the way I've done it for 30 some odd years. And of course, this thing turns counterclockwise, not clockwise. I'm ready when you are again, Mr. Roussel. We gotta get this thing running. Of course, there's the pressure, there's the deadline. That's always the way it is. Do I need to say a little prayer? Maybe for myself?
works.
Awesome. We just squeaked it right through, you know, hit the key, the thing fired up. Okay, good. Who shows up? Johnny Jalopy.
The word is Johnny's on his way.
I think we're ready to show Johnny Jalopy.
Yeah.
Let's let him see his creation.
I agree, sir. The coolest factor about all this was that it was a collaboration, and that's what really pushes me. Having other input really makes it a cool thing. Aha.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on?
Cow.
What do you think about that?
Kidding. Dude, finally got awesome to meet you,
brother.
man.
Good to meet you.
Mark.
Mark.
What's up, man? When I first walked in, I just went, are you kidding me? It's a machine now. It's like spot on to see something that was in my brain in front of me, you know, that I can touch and feel and smell and hear. Undescribable feeling of just amazement.
Yeah.
That dash came out so good.
Yeah, it's my dog's water bowl. He came in, and I don't know how he reacts to stuff, but it seemed like he was super charged up.
Killed it, man.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
It's exactly what I thought about was a little bus thing sitting on a tea bucket. How cool would it be to take one super crazy culture, the Volkswagen guys, and one crazy culture, the hot rod guys, and mesh that together and create something totally different. And a lot of people looking at my drawing always thought, nah, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. Well, he just did it.
I love the fact that your drawing was a VW bus, so I bought the headlights, Mark got the taillights.
I cannot wait to see this on the road and people going, what is that?
Yeah, this is kind of where we're at, man. We're still in final assembly. I gotta detail out the headlights,
Dude, I
put the
love
rest
it.
of the windows and the interior in. The whole thing here is to get this truck in the trailer and show it. So it was really cool to have Johnny here to work on the thing, because then he's like hands-on, you know, he gets to respect how much effort it took to pull this off.
But to be here and be able to touch it and work on it a little bit has been really cool.
Trying to get the last of these windows in. Took me a while to figure out how the driver's door window mechanism was gonna happen, but I nailed that. So Johnny's doing the simple fixed window in the back, and I'm getting the last windshield panel put in. Pretty straight ahead.
He says, did you say the easy back window?
I gave him the easy one to do. I handled all the challenging tasks. Installing windows is pretty challenging. I told Johnny what I needed from the rear portion, so it just takes time. I'm busy, I'll let him figure it out, and that's really the learning process. I'll be here fussing with this while you go on to victory.
Tell you what, let me
Be here doing the hard time.
finish this up and I'll be right over to give you a hand with that.
Come around and bail me out. Maybe I've just done this a lot. I don't get it. You know, I just pulled the film right off and hey, that's it. It wasn't the case for Johnny.
Meanwhile, he's pulled 2 sheets of the plastic stuff off, and Johnny looks like a moron.
I'm quick, man.
Seriously? 45 minutes of me trying to get plastic off Lexan, and then Ian just comes over and rips it right off. What are you gonna do? Woo! Almost.
The last thing we needed was this upholstery. Hey, right on time.
Yeah, here's the rest of the stuff.
Perfect. Jack pushed this interior to the last minute. Johnny and Mark are gone. It's the night before the big show.
I was up all night, worked my fingers to the
Yeah, you
bone.
and me both, man.
We'll get busy.
Yes. Sure. It was pre-fit. All I had to do was screw it in place, and we're off. This thing's wrapped. This is a toy come to life. Mark is out of his mind. Johnny is totally charged up about this.
It's the coolest thing I ever seen. I'm stoked for Pomona.
I can't wait for that first reaction from people when they see it.
Up to this point, it's been a static piece. Johnny drew it, it's been sitting in the shop, but it's an actual car, it drives around. It's time to take it to the car show. We're out here at Pomona, it's a swap meet car show, biggest one in the world.
Shaka, good job.
Pomona, man, beautiful swap meet. I've been cruising around there this morning. Reaction on the car is all thumbs up.
Probably the coolest car at the swap meet today. It's cool. It's way different. You know, I love it.
I had never seen it outside the shop until today. So the windows absolutely glow in the sunlight, and it was like a beacon. People were hypnotized, they were drawn to it, and everybody was digging it.
Well, I would think that's probably one of the most unique hot rods I've seen out here in the 30 years I've come out here. There's lots of different things out here, but that one's truly unique.
It's the cartoon driving experience that, you know, if you own this, you'll have that, you'll achieve that. It's wonderful, man.
Do you know what Spaßhaber is? Guys who had fun with cars.
This journey has been awesome. It's definitely going down in the records as one of the best weeks I've ever spent down here.
The reaction, and it's a dream come true, and I'm almost speechless. I'm soaking it in. I can't wait to do more.
Victor shows up with the Boonie Bug I built. It has the chassis of the original VW bus. It's just so cool to see that original thrashed out VW bus rehabilitated into two new projects.
But that was the body that was on this car. So this is, you're looking at one car here.
After seeing everything that Ian can achieve, if you can dream it, he could build it.
He's a master. He's one of the main reasons why I'm an aspiring fabricator myself. He's major talent, major talent.
This is kind of a step in a new direction for me because it's the wildest design I've ever worked on, and it was dictated by an artist. So it really makes me want to do more.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel transforms an old jalopy into a street-burning hot rod.
My friend Don has a real steel 1931 Ford. It's a 5-window coupe. That's a perfect starting point.
But Ian's unorthodox approach doesn't sit well with his traditional client.
There's times I sit and go, okay, Ian, what are you thinking about? Because he's picking up the strangest part to put on my car.
This is like work, you know? I'm at work here. I'm trying to make a really bitchin' car, but I gotta get back to my shop. There's something I've been looking to finish, and I gotta get to it.
Back at the lab, Ian attempts to resurrect a crazy creation.
This car is really kind of the opposite of what Don's is. His is for the street, this is for the show. All it does is get off the trailer, show up at the club, and do its dance.
And later at Don's, things start heating up.
I'd say a significant event occurred in my absence. Hot rods are a purely American thing. They started with early Fords mostly, 20s and 30s Fords. As I understand, GIs came home from World War II, and they wanted to go fast. These were made from cheap cars that were just sitting around, just waiting to be hot rodded. The primary reason these cars were modified was to go fast. The looks just kind of followed the function. Chop top, for instance, was to streamline the car. These cars had big, tall, square roofs, so the chop top came about from hot rodding. The big draw to these cars is that they're just a blast to drive. They're lightweight, big horsepower. It's just a pretty gnarly experience. These cars are really desirable. They're making fiberglass reproductions, all steel reproductions, so to find an original surviving all-metal body, that's the best starting point.
Ian and I have been friends for a while. We've worked on several projects together. He gets excited coming over here to see all the projects that I have. I like things a little more simple, and Ian's way more creative.
This is like ideal hot rod material. It's a little bit too far gone if you needed to restore it. All the mechanical parts are junk, but for a hot rod, this body is really good.
Just as we started this project, I was injured, and I've been laid up for almost a year now. And this has been the best therapy, with Ian as motivated as he is, and me knowing I wanted to finish this project and get it going, that the relationship on that worked out really good.
Don's wanted to bring this car back to life for years. It's literally, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years sitting around.
This car's been in the family for almost 50 years now. It needed to do something with it. It was just a cool car.
I love this car. It's really old. It's not rotten. It's been through some stuff. It's an old car. Got crunched in on the side. The frame is toast, but the body is totally usable.
It had been heavily damaged in an accident when it was in storage. And that kind of took the wind out of the sails on putting it back to original. And that's when we truly decided to go all out with it and build a new frame for it. I have a lot of ideas the way I want this car to come out. And Ian's creative mind, I'm sure he's got a lot more different ideas as well. So this is going to be interesting on this project.
There's a show coming up. I just want to go see what's around, get some inspiration, and start this new project. The Ventura Nationals has gone through a couple different transitions. It used to be called the Primer Nationals, but the primered cars have evolved into, like, you'll see, full custom blowout. This show is happening. Looking at other 31 Fords, this is like straight cool traditional custom. This is a lot like Don's in that it's a highboy. It's on the stock frame. It's running a Chevy V8 motor. It's just, you know, this is a really clean car. It's the way you would see it done in the 50s or 60s. And it's just a bitchin' look. The way they got the paint set up, it looks kind of old and patinaed. But this is a real hot rod. Good stuff. It's the same year. It's a 31 Ford. It's unchopped. It's a highboy. It's up on top of the frame. This one I consider even more traditional. It has the wishbones, but they haven't been split, so it sits taller. It's got a flathead V8 motor in it. It's totally legit hot rod. It's the real deal. The exhaust on this car is bitchin'. I really like it. It makes a mess, but it looks awesome. Seems like everything with hot rods has been done. I'm always trying to break new ground, but I see these traditional cars that are pretty mellow, and they're damn nice. Kinda on the fence. I know where I want to go, but sometimes you just gotta hold back. We really started this project about a year ago. I built a whole frame for it, and we haven't done anything since. I made a whole front clip look like a stock car. That's when the debate really started.
I wanted to lengthen it out about 8 inches just so we'd have more room in the cab of the car. I'm trying to build it as comfortable as I can.
The problem with extending the wheelbase is it's not that Model A hot rod that you see on the lakes in the 50s. Those cars were running a stock wheelbase most of the time, and that's the look.
But I was going for more of the practical look, had to make it comfortable.
Don really wanted room in the footwell, so we ended up making the chassis 6 inches longer. For the rear part of the frame, I used 2x3, 1/8 wall, and I used the Model A frame as a template where I put this little jog in it. I just set that up and took the 2x6, just made a join and then plated them with a 1/4 inch plate on the outsides all the way around. We don't have a proper hot rod front axle, so I'm looking for something that looks like it. Don's got a '59 Ford truck in the back, and I think I can modify that to work. Since we need a front axle for the 31, I did this on another car, like a T-bucket I built. I used a truck axle. So it's cool because these straight axles, they have hydraulic brakes. They got the old school wide 5 bolt pattern. The cool thing about this axle is Don's already got it. It's here, it's got a great brake setup. A lot of guys would convert their cars to truck brakes, and really that's the main benefit. I'm just using the whole axle, but it's all about stopping. It's a no-brainer. I'm just gonna cut off the leaf spring mounts and create a new mount for the hot rod style spring. All right, so that's the deal. The main thing I'm gonna have to do before I start, see these pads where the old leaf springs used to mount? I'm gonna cut straight through and then weld a bracket on to hold the new radius rods. I'm cutting off the brackets that held the parallel leaf springs. That's the way the '59 truck was set up, but I want a transverse leaf spring. I'm making new mounts to hold this new style spring. It's pretty straight ahead, it's just gotta be really strong. I'm making the setup so that it holds the radius rods and the spring, so it's really just a bunch of 1/4-inch plate. It's basically just a big steel gusset structure that locates the axle. That's all. That's what I do, man. Just using what's available. Anybody can get in the catalog and pick a number, but I'm making it. This axle's done. I painted it black. It's a very simple thing. Just a bunch of bolts at this point, and it's ready to roll. Don ordered the radius rods from the catalog.
I don't have a problem with ordering from the catalog. I'm trying to make his job a little bit easier.
Don had the rear end he wants to use, so I put on some brackets, hooked up the 4-link kit. Now we got a rolling chassis. Found this Chevy truck steering box, mounted it to the frame. It's gonna work great. The challenge is mating it up to the forward front axle. They're different ends on the drag link. With every car I've made like this, I've had to make a custom length drag link. So when you put the end on, you just use the Chevy on one side and the Ford on the other.
With all the stuff that I have around here, Ian really has never asked me to go buy anything for a project.
I really like using stuff that's around. There's sometimes you can't get away from ordering parts, bushings, heim joints, that type of thing. But I really just like to find stuff and modify it to fit what we're doing. I think that's the whole thing about being a fabricator. Instead of a restoration-minded person, I'm looking for stuff that I can use, cut it apart, and make it happen. Somebody who's restoring a car is looking for the proper thing that bolts back on. Now that it rolls and steers, there's a few other mechanical things I gotta wrap up and then get on to the aesthetics. So the engine and transmission are basically out of a '67 Mustang. So we're using the same radiator. I built a simple angle iron frame to support it, and it's gonna get held on with 2 bolts to the frame like the stock one, and then it'll just have 2 locating rods to keep it upright that hit the cowl. This is pretty rad. It's a 32 Ford. It's a reproduction grill shell. All right, we're still waiting to figure out what we do about the insert, but that's pretty much the setup. The next step is to mount the headlights and then create some kind of a shock bracket. Typical setup on the Model A hot rod is the headlight mounts have an integral shock mount. It's another thing you could order from the catalog, but I'm trying to make this car Don's. Put as many unique things in it as you can, so I'm just gonna make them. Make them out of some 1/4-inch steel plate, and really, it's a no-brainer. The whole thing about this setup is strength. Those headlights are nice. You don't want them falling off. So the shock absorber is gonna be pushing and pulling on the headlight mount. It's gotta look cool, it's gotta be super strong. You can't mess with these headlights. Polished stainless steel with the cool little lights on top. Money, it's good stuff. This body is 80, 90, whatever years old. It's super old. We had to take it and do a bunch of work underneath. We got replacement wheel arches, a couple replacement quarters, and it's really just cut and weld. Body work, sand, sand, sand. We finally get the thing pretty dialed in. It's time to see how it looks as a roller. Don's got the treasure. He's got this Chevy truck steering box, but it ain't gonna work. The stock truck steering box is just one long rod. It's a straight shot from the steering wheel to the box. The Model A is way smaller, so we gotta bend it a bit. Took the steering shaft, cut it a few times, put in 2 universal joints and a couple mounts. There you have it. It's a bent steering rod, and it works perfect. The whole deal is getting the steering wheel in a comfortable position to drive. The steering box is pretty far off from where it would have been in the stock location. Car's lower, so we had to modify the steering shaft. Getting the steering column together was pretty important. You can research or think about anything as much as you want, but the proof is in the test, and it works great. Once I saw the body on the chassis, all I could think was chop top. But Don's hesitant.
This car is an all original, it's an all steel car. I would like to keep it looking as much like an original car as I can. That's why I'm really dragging my feet on chopping the top on this one.
In the end, Don's looking for a comfortable driving car, so no chop top. I'm just trying to help Don build his car. Every Model A has a hole in the roof. Can't get around it. One of the cool factors is it really gives you an opportunity to kind of make your mark. I've been looking around all over, trying to figure out what's gonna be cool. Don's got a bunch of van roofs, he's got car hoods, car trunks, all kinds of stuff. Looking around, I come up on this Mustang hood, and it's pretty thrashed. This is a '69 Mustang hood. The car got wrecked. I cut it out about the same size as the roof opening in the Model A. It's got a neat crease down the center, and it's worthless as a replacement hood. So we were talking about using it to fill the hole in the roof. The contour fits, and it's got this cool little detail in the roof. The selling point to me was the ridge in the hood. The ridge in the hood immediately made me think of a 50s trick where they would put these little air vents in the roof of the car. So that's really what I was hoping to do. I mean, I already had this thing built in my head.
I'm not really sure about the scoop Ian's talking about on the back. I'm, more leaning towards a original stock car. But as creative as Ian is, you have to step back. He's so creative. I mean, there's times I sit and go, okay, Ian, what are you thinking about? Because he's picking up the strangest part to pick up and put on my car. It's just, it amazes me that you never know where he's gonna go with something.
So I'll probably mellow out these 2 side ridges a little bit, and they'll just have a center peak right through the hood. It's like I can finally get creative on a very conservative build, which is like my release valve. Finally, I can do something inspiring. The whole deal with this roof insert is the car can buckle. This is a pretty structural point, so I'm having to clean out all the old crud. The whole deal is just grinding all the edges, getting it super clean so we can mate the sheet metal up, and it's a good strong weld. Because if this car goes in a driveway or something, gets some torsional twists, the roof is gonna pop up. It's really important that this is strong, so we're setting it up so it's really strong. This is a huge sheet metal panel, and I don't want to warp it. There's a million ways to jig it up, but I found that tech screws, just screwing it down every few inches, works perfect. So that's the plan. Just screw it down. We'll come back and fill up the holes later with weld. Pretty much it. We'll just weld this on. It's going to take a long time to make all the tack welds. It's about 16 linear feet of welding, so stand by. It's all screwed together, and there's no warps or kinks, so it's gonna be a slow welding process, round and round for hours. It takes so long to spot weld a big panel like this. I mean, your thoughts can go anywhere, but mostly for me, it's like the sound of a long, empty hallway with a slight breeze coming through it. It's just nothing. You can't think too much when you're doing this or you go crazy. It takes a long time. The satisfaction comes in the end result, because a lot of guys will want to work through it too fast, and I know what happens. I've been there. So really, I've trained myself to just slow down time. Just take your time and do it right. It's not that hard to weld this on correctly. The whole deal is not heating it up. And if you do heat it up, you got to know how to recover from it. And that's really where the hammer welding comes in. Each time the weld cools down, it shrinks a bit. So nothing's perfect. Some spot welds will be hotter than others. So if you find that it's starting to oil can on you, it gets out of shape, you got to hammer it back before you do the next weld. It's really just keeping the metal under control. It's just a slow process. You got to do it right. Once the welding's all done, you just grind it out. It's the same deal that you don't want to heat it up, because you can warp it when you're grinding it. So you got to know where you're going. Just take your time and get it right. When I'm grinding it, I'm just making sure I don't heat it up. I try to keep the edge of the disc on the weld. Never hit the sheet metal. It's really just, you gotta pay attention. Last part of the equation is the Bondo. Mix it up, fill it, go on to primer. The whole purpose of the Bondo is to level the surface. So you mix it up, spread it, cut it back real fast. Get as much of the material off as possible, because you want the paint to be as close to the metal as possible. The whole idea with Bondo is using as little as possible, so I like to work fast. I found that I can use this big old saw blade, and it's like 10 grit sandpaper. So if you use it right, it goes really quick. You just sling off the high spots real fast, just go to 36 grit after that. Don's car is bitchin' and all, but it's really not the creative entity that I'm looking for. It's like, this is like work, you know? I'm at work here. I'm trying to make a really bitchin' car, but I gotta get back to my shop. There's something I've been looking to finish, and I gotta get to it. Working on Don's hot rod has got me thinking about this car I built about 5 years ago. It's a total show car. It just had some suspension issues, and it's really making me want to bring it back. I took the whole car apart to freshen it up, and what I'm gonna really do is make the suspension work. There's a few really cool ideas, but without the final touches, it's pretty much unusable. This is the freaking mess. It's a pretty nonsensical car. This is the bare frame. The motor and transmission are in it because it's so high fashion, it requires a ton of disassembly to get the engine out. So today, I just gotta come up with a plan. When I originally built the car, I had taken 2 airbags and stacked one on top of the other so they would blow up like an accordion. They were huge. So the airbags, you can see what I did. I just hogged out the threads on this so they just located. So they would fit together like that, a double stack. But the problem was with the arc of the suspension, they would literally turn into a noodle. And if the axle twisted, then they would come apart. They would pop out of the car. So this bag would be here, and then it would just literally break free. The worst thing was that the car could barely even get on the trailer. Even as a trailer queen, it couldn't do that one simple task. The cool factor is it looks like a toy. It looks fake. It was a super simple design. The 2-link is okay, but it needs a third. It needs something to stop it from going left to right. The whole deal with this modification is I do have to put in suspension components and basically busy up the design a little. I'm trying to make it look as cool as it did in the beginning, but without these extra parts, it just doesn't work. My challenge is to make it look as cool as possible and still drive. What I had established, obviously you got plenty of up and down movement, you got articulation in the axle, but I need to stop it from going side to side. So the fix is a 3rd link, some kind of a rod with a joint that as the suspension moves up and down, it swings with it, but it stops it from moving side to side. That's the fix. I might put shocks just inside here. This is all hidden. Might come off with shocks on each side like that. That way it'll give it a little help when it articulates and rises and falls. This is still a show car. It doesn't need to drive across town. It's got no VIN numbers. It's got no license plates. It's not an off-road vehicle. It just needs to get on the trailer. I need to get it out of the storage and back to the show. Goal today is to get this thing to have shocks and a 3rd link in the suspension. I was able to get a couple shocks, Volkswagen front shocks from an early, like 60s bug. I figured they're gas charged, so this isn't a performance car. These were around, and I'm gonna make them fit, even if they wouldn't otherwise. Went digging around in my friend Don's back lot. I was able to come up with an old tie rod from a car. I always like to put a little Volkswagen in every project. I'm using VW front shocks, and I found this tie rod at Don's. I'm gonna make into a third link for the suspension. I just cut one end off. I have to cut it to length, but I think this will work perfect for the cross link. I'll have to come up with a couple mounts and mount this crossways in here so that as the suspension travels up and down, it won't go side to side. The first step today is to create an upper shock mount. I'm really trying to make this thing look like it belongs on the car and not an afterthought. So it's got to be strong and it's got to look as cool as the rest of the vehicle. I've really been tossing around a few ideas on how to build this thing. What I really know is that I don't want to grind on the frame. I don't want to disturb the paintwork that's there. So I'm trying to come up with a creative idea that'll bolt on. What this needs to do for functionality is locate the upper bushing on the shocks. I got a whole bunch of this, it looks like 1x3 or so, rectangular tube. So if that sits on here, and once the shock is collapsed, it comes out to just about the right measurement. So if I set that up like that with a bolt going through, that should work perfect. They're gas charged, they gotta be really secure. It's got to be a strong part, and it's got to look cool. I'm trying to make this thing look like it belongs on the car, and I've got drilled holes all over the thing. Some are dimpled, some are all the way through, so probably going to come up with some kind of a thing that matches parts of the suspension. I just cut an 11-inch piece of that 1x3 rectangular stock, drilled a bunch of holes. It took a while. I left the ends without holes because I'm going to put 2 small pieces of tube so I can put a bolt through it. I used a TIG welder to fit the bushings on the end of this rectangular bar. I did that primarily so it's a really neat weld, simple, minimal. There's no finish work, it just looks cool. The whole concept with this, from the beginning, was to make it look like it wouldn't work. So I'm still trying to keep all these functioning parts kind of minimalistic standpoint. When you look at the car, I don't want you to see a bunch of accessories bolted on. I'm trying to keep it low key. All right. So that worked out good. But the shocks, I think I'm gonna trim these shocks a little bit because that looks too stock. So this whole upper shock looks pretty bulky, and you don't really need this. This is just like a shield for a street car. You'll see what the deal is. I'll just cut this whole top off and it'll look pretty clean. The whole idea is this being a show car, I want you to look at the flashy stuff. This isn't a focal point, this is purely function. Taking these upper shrouds off of the shock, just because it makes them look a little lighter, a little cooler. You got a nice shiny chrome rod coming out of it. It just looks cooler. They put these shrouds on it for cars on the street, keeps water, rocks, any kind of crud out of the moving part. But this doesn't have that. This car's never gonna be in the rain or in the mud, so no crud's gonna go down into the shock absorber. So it was primarily for looks. It looks bitchin'. The primary difference in the setup between Don's and my car is I'm using an airbag system. They both have a center mount, but his leaf spring is the thing that locates the axle and keeps it centered. My design for the airbag doesn't have anything to keep the axle centered, so I need to put this third link in. That'll keep it from self-destructing. The whole idea with this being on airbags is it's got to function. It's got to move up and down pretty quickly. It's got to look cool and be strong. Everything seems to be working, but you never know what could go wrong. I mean, this is a raw chassis. Everything seems to be operating, but I'll never know until I get the thing assembled, so we'll see. Spent a bunch of time getting some stuff done on my car, and that's cool, but really I love to finish projects. Don's car is so close, it's good to get back here. I'm really looking forward to driving the thing.
It's great to have Ian back. While he was gone, I was finishing up on running the brake lines, the fuel lines, some of the electrical that's going into the car. And now that he's here, now we can get down to business on getting that thing closer to being fired up.
Mechanically, Don's got down on all the hoses, wires, brake lines, emergency brake cable. Everything mechanical is complete. Bolting in the drive shaft and modifying the rear forelink are the last two things, and mechanically, it's there. Cool factor times 10. We got some Coker tires, installed some radial white walls, 165s in the front, 235s in the back. It's got the classic big and little hot rod look. The diameter of the rear tires looks great. The frame has got the proportions I like. You gotta see it with the body on. That's what makes it all together. That's what makes it count. Well, the body's in good position. I gotta see what this thing looks like. Been waiting a long time. A lot of effort's gone into getting this far, so let's see what it looks like in the sunlight. I like it, sir.
I like it too. It's so nice to finally see this car going someplace. It's been sitting for 40 some odd years. Now to see it getting so close, I'm so excited about getting that car running and getting it down the road. It is absolutely bitchin'. I couldn't have asked for a better car.
You've seen this car kind of mocked up 100 times already, but with the tires and the paint, this thing is ready. It's looking good. The last bit of fabrication is the exhaust dumps. Don's got a bitchin' set of headers, and they need mufflers. We're bolting on the headers, and I'm gonna fabricate the rest of the exhaust. Don got these old school glass packs, and he wants to run them underneath the doors along the frame like that. Took a whole bunch of cut and welds, but it actually gave it a better shape in the end. I trimmed it back until it has this like flowing rearward, kind of a mellow curvature. It looks good. That's pretty much the layout. I'm gonna take it off and finish weld it, sand it up nice. Don's gonna paint the whole assembly black. So the last bit is just to put a gasket on here. I'm not gonna put it together finally until we're really done, but this is the gist of it. So you got it and it's shut off. It flows out through the mufflers. So it's a 2.5 outlet to a 2-inch end pipe and muffler. But if he goes out to the salt flats or just wants to annoy his neighbors, he can open it up. It'd be like a marching band coming down the street. Without mufflers, this car will be pretty rowdy, you know. Everybody would know who's coming through town. Don's looking to be a little more discreet. He's a little more mature than I am.
We're ready to install this. An aftermarket air cleaner that looks just fantastic.
Usually wiring a car for me is kind of tedious, but I'm gonna try out this wiring harness kit. It looks like it's all there. It's painless, so they say. And all the wires are labeled. Pretty slick. Cool factor number 2, we got a wiring kit from Painless. It's a big hassle to come up and build your own wiring harness from a bare fuse block. So we got this kit and it has everything. The crazy thing about wiring harnesses is there's always a million wires. And this one is color-coded. Each wire is labeled. It's like a tiny little silk screen machine. I don't know how they do it. Every wire tells you what it goes to. So although it looks like a crazy bundle, they're all telling you what to do with them. It's really a time saver. And it's pro, you know it works. They got a great reputation. We're there. All we gotta do is button up a few things, start it, and run it. We're in the closing stages of this car. Don's project is just wrapping up. Today's the day we start it. It's all assembled, pretty much just up to the accessories and then the start.
Today's the day. It's all coming together. We're finally gonna fire this thing up and put it on the road. I am so excited about this.
Gotta put the taillights on, the deck lid, gotta put the seat in, and the steering column. Pretty minor nuts and bolts. The only thing left to figure out is this third brake light.
When Ian was gone, I went ahead and I got some LED lights.
In my absence, the hood scoop, this great styling element, has become a third brake light. Very interesting.
I like the practicality of the safety part of it because the car sits fairly low, that I think that's going to work out really good.
He wired some wires up through the body, and he put these LEDs inside. In the end, it's all about craftsmanship. You know, that is a very custom third brake light. Our plan is to take an old taillight from a car and just cut that shape out. We talked about it. Don wanted a third brake light, and I said, there's no way you're putting one in the back window. So hiding it in the hood scoop was a better choice. The first step was to cut out this shape from the whole lens. We only need a small piece of red plastic, basically. Just creeped up on it. First I cut it with like a heavy cutting disc, and then I used a sander to just creep up on the final shape. I put a little bevel in it as it meets the body. It'll be like a 45-degree angle, so it'll sit right up against the flange that is in the body. We'll just glue in the seam with a little bit of silicone and just call that done.
Oh, look at that. Boy, somebody will see me from miles away. Perfect. Another wonderful job by FM Ian.
The final step of the whole freaking build. We're there. Don's gonna set up some tool to raise the oil pressure. The motor's been sitting for years, so Don needs to bring up the oil pressure and then rotate the engine a few times and get everything lubricated. I'm pretty stoked. Don turned the key and the thing popped right off. It fired right away. The compression and everything in the motor seems cool. It's firing fine, but it's not delivering fuel. I'm not sure what the deal is. It's pulling the fuel up out of the tank, but it's like sort of just pulsing. It's not really delivering the gas the way it should. For some reason, the gas isn't getting to the engine. Don's gonna set up something with a fuel pump or whatever, but I gotta take off. I gotta pick up a car and deliver it to another client. So I'm gonna come back in about an hour. Should wrap this up and we're gonna run this thing. We're ready to rock. I'd say a significant event occurred in my absence. This fire could have got out of control. Apparently there was too much fuel pressure and the whole engine seems to have caught on fire.
Let's get outside. What happened was the seat and the carburetor stuck open. So it was pushing all the fuel out of the carburetor, and I think there was a spark when I went to pull off the wire, and I think that's what ignited it.
It takes a lot to get me excited. I'm a pretty mellow dude, so you know, seeing a car that was freshly incinerated, it's pretty exciting. Can't say I was really disappointed because it's exciting, you know? I'm into that kind of stuff. It's a bummer, the car's filthy now, but pretty cool. Not everybody catches their brand new car on fire.
It's not going to run tonight. It will run, it will make it to the show. It's just going to take cleanup time now.
Yeah, well, nothing's burnt, it's just dirty.
No, it's very minor damage.
Well, apparently getting gas isn't the problem now. It seems to get plenty of fuel. So I think we solved that problem. I guess all we gotta do is wash it up and run it.
It's running, it's ready to go. We're going to the show. Well, I had to clean up the mess after the fire, and that was a little challenging, but we got all the powder off of the car. Have not fixed one burnt wire yet, but that'll get fixed later on. And adjusted the timing on it, and it's good to go. I'm really happy with the way this whole build went because the car is easy to get in and out of. It's a nice car to drive. It handles well, it corners well, it stops well, and the wife can get in and out of it well. I'm just so tickled. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more, or a person of Ian's caliber to help me with my own personal project. Working with Ian, he has taught me that you can make things absolutely bitchin' with the simplest tools, the simple material, that you can take something and make the most awesome stuff with it. That I have learned from him. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, this is assembling it for the first time. It's still kind of a mock-up. I don't know if it's actually gonna work, but I got a pretty good idea, so we'll see. This car is really kind of the opposite of what Don's is. His is for the street, this is for the show. It's high fashion. All it does is get off the trailer, show up at the club, and do its dance. It has no other purpose except to get attention. The hardest part about this is that this is a finished, pristine show car, not like a mock-up. So I'm really trying to be careful. I want to assemble it, polish it, and show it. I got my car put all back together. The front suspension works great. I got it on the trailer and it's off to the rodeo.
Really excited, fire's out, car runs, and we're here. Very happy. I've had a lot of good reaction. The family just loves it. They can't wait to go for rides in it.
Seeing Don happy with the car, excited to drive it, I mean, that's what it's all about. Working with people and getting that type of response makes it happen for me. How you doing, man?
I guess what kind of engine? Like Pontiac, Oldsmobile?
Oldsmobile.
Okay.
48, yeah. Yeah.
How does it go?
It drives like a jalopy. It's
Yeah?
Like
It's got some poop?
It's like an angry little go-kart.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that like about a 38 bone body?
It's a Chevy.
Oh, it's a Chevy?
Yeah, it's a 31 Chevy.
I'll be
See
darned.
all the extra lines in the
Yeah.
body? Yeah.
Well, what was it, a two-door sedan or a?
It was a four-door.
Oh, and you shortened it up?
Everything, yeah. Yeah, I shortened it a little.
Made it
The whole
channel,
9
or
yards.
chopped it,
Channeled it, sectioned it, and painted the mother pink.
Well, what a car. I've never seen nothing like that in my life, and I've been around for 77 years.
Right on.
That's cool.
To finally finish this monumental task and have people stoked on it is really rewarding. You know, I built the car for me, but the people like it.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel takes on a 1944 fire truck.
These are the basic building blocks for my inspired project. Holy moly, this thing is crazy. It looks like a Model T. I think if I made it smaller that way and lower that way, that could be a hot rod.
I've never seen one done on this great a scale with such big parts.
My friend Tom and I are gonna put this together for his charity car show.
But when the guys get into it, things don't go as planned.
Tom's yelling, fire, fire. I'm like, what are we gonna do about that?
Should we call the fire department?
With the car show quickly approaching, Ian has to get down and make it happen.
Like a 3 a.m. roll call. I woke up, realized the course of action, followed through.
Yeah, man, now it's looking like a hot rod.
My friend Tom's in the shop. We're doing a project, and he's talking about this car show he's got coming up.
Every year I throw an annual car show, and it's a fundraiser to help raise funds to send kids to summer camp. I think if Ian shows up, it's going to kick the attendance up a notch. It's 1 month away, and I think you should show up.
I say we just build something. Like, just build something new and bring it to your show to reveal it. I think that would be a hit.
So I was thinking, man, it'd be really cool if Ian showed up to my car show, but now he's talking about building something. You're telling me that you're gonna build, that we're gonna build.
Yeah, you gotta be here. Tom's kind of blown away. So he's a little concerned, but I think we could do this. I got this potential up at my friend Bill's house, and if I can get that off his hill, I'll bring it down here and you'll see. He'll be totally into it.
I'm on board, let's do it.
Cool, you
Sounds
just gotta
fun.
be here. That's
I'll
all
be
it
here.
takes.
I guess I'm gonna be here for the next month building something with Ian. Hopefully we get it done.
We're up at Bill's, and the treasure hunt is on.
Now this is the chassis that the roll-off truck you did came off of.
This is a 1948 International Harvester. It's a KB8. It's a big rig. We used the body on Bill's other project truck. So he had all the components from the early truck left over. This thing is old school, man. It almost looks like an old hot rod frame you would start with, just gigantic. The axle's super cool. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was like a giant Model T or something, just the way everything looks. There's a reason Bill didn't use this. It's pretty rough. The engine is toast, transmission is who knows what. It's completely gunked up with dirt. I don't need any of that. All I need is the frame and the axles. It's a perfect starting point.
Yeah, this chassis is rough, but I didn't want to throw it away, and Ian doesn't like throwing away either.
I think I could build another vehicle out of this. Do you have a cab? Obviously, we used the cab on your other truck.
I do. I have 2 international bodies. I like international trucks, I always have, and every time one comes available, I got it.
So this is like a 48, it's the same as yours, right?
This is a 48. This would have been called a KB5.
Yeah, it's smaller.
Right.
And this is like a 54?
I think 53 or 4, something around that era.
And this bed was on the back of this red International
No, different vehicle altogether. This was off of a 1944 Seagraves fire truck, roadster type fire truck.
Crazy. Oh yeah, it's got these handles where they would hold on.
Yeah, the fireman would hang on. I doubt whether they're OSHA approved today.
Yeah, this is neat. Oh yeah, engine 4. Says it right on it.
Well, you know, I have the cab for this still. I don't have any frame.
You have the sheet metal?
I have the sheet metal roadster cab.
Well, never mind these little dinky pickup trucks. Where's the fire engine, man?
I'll show you the fire engine.
In Bill's endless pile of parts, he's got a fire truck. Holy moly.
Yeah, this is what's left of my fire truck.
Where do you get something like this?
Well, I bought this years ago at an auction, and it was a complete truck at that time. You know, I love the old fire truck because it's a roadster, and it's one of those keeps getting moved back project. I'm never gonna get around to it.
This is freaking awesome. This thing is crazy. It looks like a Model T with this cowl. And then an awesome, like for the Model Ts, for the racing cars, they would make a V-butted windshield, and this has already got it. I really need to check this thing out. Pulled it out of the weeds, and it's in very good shape. I know the chassis got the look. And then seeing this body and the bedsides, I'm thinking giant hot rod truck. So I think that this cab is the game changer, never mind those pickup trucks. Bill and I have got a really good working relationship. We exchange parts for work a lot of times. Judging by the amount of stuff that he just gave me, I might be in line with him for some really wild stuff.
I'm always excited to watch Ian and see his gears turning in his head and what he does.
These are the basic building blocks for my inspired project. I got this thing all cleaned up. It's ready to start work. Like any good project, the first thing you do is cut it up. This is a big old truck. I want to make it look more like a hot rod. All the dimensions have to be snugged up, made a little more low and streamlined. I think the coolest way to go about this is to use all the existing suspension components and reconfigure them, achieve the look I'm going for with the stock stuff. Tom's coming in to help me work on this. He doesn't know anything about my little hot rod project, except that I'm building something cool. I hope it doesn't freak him out, because we got a lot of work to do.
Man, this thing's massive.
This is the grand master plan.
Yeah, but where's the rest of the truck?
This is it, man. It's a truck, right?
Where's the rest of it, though?
It's outside, man. We got pieces.
I walk into the shop, and there's no truck. There's just a frame. The car show's like 3 weeks away. It's like, what's going on here, Ian? Where's the truck? Jeez, it's massive.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put this together in 3 weeks with your help.
In 3 weeks, we're gonna get the man.
Yeah, all we have to do is build a whole truck.
That's all we gotta do.
I've done it before, man. We could make this happen. I'm not showing Tom the body of the truck yet. I think we should just focus on the suspension. I don't want him to get distracted. The suspension configuration is really the key to the whole look of this thing.
I'm excited. I'm big time excited for this big project. I have faith in Ian, so I'm just gonna follow along. I'm gonna see what happens.
The whole concept with the front end suspension on this project is it's a quarter elliptic, suicide style front end. The easiest way to describe it is I took the stock leaf springs, I cut them in half and turned them upside down. Made a whole bunch of brackets. It's all concept. I just want to put everything in place and see how it's going to fit up. Before, with the leaf spring and the chassis up here, if something broke, it just fell down on the axle. Now, if it breaks, it's going right to the ground.
The whole truck goes down.
They call it the suicide front end for a reason. You're really hanging the whole truck off of these fabricated parts on the axle. So now you can see how these little holders are gonna lock right on there.
People use suicide front ends all the time, but I've never seen one done on this great a scale with such big parts.
Unfortunately, there's really no way to test out a portion of this. I'm really committed to building the whole thing, getting it in place, and then seeing if it works. The way these radius rods comes off of the spindle, you see it in a lot of hot rods, you have to heat it up and bend it. The issue is this is a truck. It's gonna take a ton of heat. If you don't have enough heat, you could always give more leverage. That's kind of the thing. We got one 10-foot bar on one side. I got a crowbar on the other side. The torch is maxed out. We're just trying to get enough heat into this part to bend it. What I'm finding is I'm gonna need a bigger torch or a little more time. If you get the rosebud torch on the acetylene tank, you get a lot of heat. I don't have one. I'm trying to work it out.
There we go.
Eventually it bends. Metal turns plastic with enough heat. That was the whole issue. Just get enough heat in it, and we got it to move. Let's let that cool for about 3 hours. We needed to do that so that these rods won't foul on the steering. So this radius rod's gonna come in and grab that plate, and now the steering is completely above that. So I'm trying to explain to Tom what I'm cooking here. I got your typical radius rod scenario, but just giant size. I just set up the ends. This is a piece of a landing gear.
Ian pulls out this part. It's really cool. It's got this military green on it. He says it's from some landing gear. So is it cool to put airplane stuff on hot rods?
Yeah. You know that surplus place I love so much. They got all this good stuff. The lower arm on this radius rod needed a bend in it, about 90 degrees-ish. I wanted Tom to get on the machine and get a little workout, you know? Everybody thinks the fabrication is all glamorous, but it's also a heck of an exercise session. The last two pulls are really tough.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
The way this machine works is it increases leverage as you go around the dial. So Tom starts off, he's like, oh, this ain't no thing. I was like, keep on pulling, brother. You'll see what it's made of.
Wow, dude, how do you do this?
That's what I'm saying. It's freaking tough.
I've seen Ian pull tubes before, but he makes it look easy. It's not. It's not as easy as it looks. I win.
There you go, man. Victory. Once I put the tubes in place, you could see it's got that look, that hot rod look. All of this is conceptual, but you never know till you try it.
If it works, yeah.
What do you mean, if? If it works, he's gonna eat his hat.
This hat? Now, this is my favorite hat. I'm kind of skeptical. We're taking giant parts from a giant truck and we're trying to trick them out hot rod style. Anything can happen.
Drop her down.
Moment of truth, huh?
The big question in my head was, how is this gonna operate? Is it gonna swing smoothly through its arc, or is it gonna bind? Huh. Actually works. Oh, it totally works. Look at that. And as soon as I stepped on the chassis, I could tell the motion I wanted to see in the shackles was perfect. You know, you're getting pretty good at this, Tom.
I'm learning from the best. At the end of the day, the work we did not only looks cool, but it's functioning perfectly.
On to the next. We got the front axle and the chassis pretty much nailed. I think this is a great starting point. I want to show Tom the actual truck body. Here's our truck body.
What is that?
Rolling it in, it looks just like what I saw up at Bill's. It's like a big rusty box coming at you. But once I explained, it's a 1944 Seagrave fire truck.
It's a fire truck.
Yeah.
Okay, man, this is cool. Man, it's got some really cool, just stuff on it.
Well, look at the front. It's almost like a Model T. It's like a roadster pickup.
Oh man, no, this is totally a hot rod. So I've never seen anything like this before. This is a 40s war era vehicle right here, and it's in our hands. So what are your plans with this?
Remains to be seen what it will become. That's the whole thing with just working through it. We just gotta figure it out.
Well, let's mock it up.
Up to this point, this whole project's been conceptual. The whole look of this project is how the body sits on the chassis. It's the look of the whole ride. So getting it in place, I could tell right away, and Tom agreed, this thing is way too tall. Look how freaking massive this body is.
Yeah, it looks kind of goofy up tall like that.
It is, it's way too tall. My initial thought was this was gonna be kind of a highboy style, real old school look on top of the frame rails. As soon as it was in place, I could tell it was not gonna be okay. That's why I wanted to put this body on. It's just way too big. When the whole truck is up in the air, the body looks kind of small, but now it looks massive. That close to the ground, it changes everything. The firewall looks like a freaking tombstone. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
I think we gotta channel it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It'll look so much cooler too.
Right, I'm talking about a hot rod, and you know the formula, man. Low, big and little tires, then lean. We gotta strip this thing down. It's looking good, but it ain't there yet. Both Tom and I agree, this big box on the back of the cab is not the look we're going for. First order of business is to chop it off. Channeling means you drop the body down over the frame. It gives the whole vehicle a lower profile. The compromise is the interior room. But I don't care about riding comfort. This is all about the look. We're channeling this sucker. Get it down. I'm just into it, you know. I love this plasma cutter. I'll use it all day long. So I got the shades on, you know, shields are down. I'm in the moment. Tom's yelling.
Woo, we got a fire in the fire truck.
Fire in the truck. I think he's just into the fire truck. I'm like, yeah. This is these wooden cars, man.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do about that?
Should we call the fire department?
Wanna see something cool? First things first is I see this as an opportunity. I mean, if this is a fire truck, I'm gonna do some experimenting.
Should put a little bit of gasoline on there for some dramatics, so it really looks like it's on fire.
No, this is like fire department stuff. You starve it from oxygen. Theory behind it is if the fire has no oxygen, it will extinguish. So I'm thinking lack of oxygen. Carbon dioxide doesn't have any oxygen. Let's try some of that. That didn't work. I guess the velocity of it coming out just made a really better fire. Plan B.
So the fire's growing. Ian says, okay, this isn't working. Don't worry about it. I got a fire extinguisher.
I hate this thing. Ready for the mess? Whoa, you're out. That didn't work. We just had a fire the other day, and I used all the fire extinguisher. Let it burn. I'm done. All the while, the truck's still burning. Tom's gonna go old school on it
So here I am, working on a fire truck, and I think, what would a fireman do? I went and got some water. Everything's solved.
You know, Tom, that's why I keep you around.
Because I'm a hard thinker?
Here I am with all my cockamamie ideas. And you came in with the oldest form of fire prevention I've ever seen.
And now we need a mop.
We got the fire out, the body lowered down, just as we expected, and it looks great. Now you're talking hot rod. That's perfect. What do you think about that, Captain? Is that gonna work?
Yeah, man, now it's looking like a hot rod.
The thing with getting the body in place is now we can kind of mock up what the wheelbase is gonna be. So in order to do that, we got the engine in place. It's a 454, it's a big block Chevy out of an old 1-ton dually I had. It's a great running powertrain. After that, we mocked up the bedsides. I knew right off the bat that these bedsides were way too long. I had my own vision of what this was gonna be. I also brought Tom on board because I wanted to see what his vision was gonna be. Groovy. I think we're onto something, man. What do you think?
I don't know, man. It's too long, it's too boxy. Something's just not right. Something's gotta be done here.
You're right, that bed's too long. Do you like the slanted back with the cool detail on the handrail?
I like that. You know what? There's got to be a way to keep the coolness of the back and the coolness of the front.
The engine 4, right?
Right. Got to keep that engine 4 and got to keep those handrails.
See that seam right behind the upright? We could cut that handrail right in half. It's already 2 pieces. So we can, look, this comes apart right here. So we could ditch this upright, make a new one, and just cut it somewhere in here and hide it with the tire, hide the seam with the tire. Wait till you see how tall these tires are.
Whoa, man, look at those. That's a tire.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are the biggest tires I could find available for the street. They're off of a cement truck. They're just massive, heavy-duty semi-truck tires. I think we nailed the wheelbase. But I think it's time now for some conceptual sketches. Moving around all these parts, it's starting to get to me. It's heavy. Tom's a graphic designer, and just like I like to take cars and stack parts, he likes to take pictures of cars and manipulate them on Photoshop. At this point, we're still in the theory and design of the rear bed. Tom's gonna go back, come up with some ideas, and I'm just gonna keep on building. So Tom and I figured out the wheelbase on this. It actually looks pretty short in comparison to the original frame. The thing is making it strong enough to hold this massive rear axle in place. You can see this is no lightweight setup. I got a bunch of motorhome front suspension parts from Bill when I was up there. The front end of this big diesel pusher motorhome had an airbag suspension, and these were the components that held the axle in place. The cool thing is I want to take the front suspension parts and convert them to the rear suspension. In looking at this kit, I can tell it's not going to work for the ride height that I'm choosing. I think that if I flip over some of the components, turn it upside down, and reattach it, and do some other formulating, it just might work. Just like the front suspension, I got to do a bunch of welding just to see if this thing works. The whole concept with the rear suspension on this truck is slammed, super low. It's gonna have airbag suspension, so the frame needs to be really modified. My plan for this is to build like a miniature tube chassis just on the back. I got 2-inch round tube, 1/8 wall, DOM, super strong stuff. So I'm gonna create a shape that goes up over the axle, back around and reattaches to the chassis. Bottom line with this design is that I'm gonna have to cut the frame right off. This whole chassis design is really high-tech stuff. I'm kind of doing a little behind-the-scenes action before Tom gets back. He doesn't need to know about this. It's all my brain work. When he comes back, it's gonna lift up, be ready to roll.
Hey. Ah. Wow, man, look at that cage. Well, I was really surprised when I came in and saw the airbag setup all done. Ian grabbed the air hose and fed some air to those airbags, and up it went, and he released it, and down it went, and it looked good raised up, and it looked even cooler let loose. Yeah, I really like the way it's sitting, nice and low for something this size.
I'm all charged up about my engineering and chassis design, and Tom comes in and he's all charged up about his artistic interpretation.
So check this out.
That's freaking cool, man.
Did a little bit of photo chopping and
Yeah.
my rendering.
I like it. I was thinking like, you know, flat black or something, but you're talking about a fire truck.
Well, yeah, well, it is a fire truck. Might as well
get it.
keep that coolness about it.
Sure.
This fire truck's from 1944, and you know, it's taken decades to build that paint job that's right there. And so I didn't want to mess with that. It looks cool the way it is.
Looking at this rendering, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want to build. The way he drew it out, it looks perfect. I think the proportions are just right.
So what I did was I brought in the bed sides a little bit.
Right, I like that.
Okay, that way it gives it a little bit of a pickup appeal,
Sure.
but it's not, you know, too flat down the side. It's still kind of hot rod. Kept the rails on there. I thought those are a nice touch, and added a few little extra characteristics to it to make it, you know, believable it's a fire truck.
I get it. Kids dig fire trucks, right? The only thing we'd need is those hoses. I don't know where the heck we'd get them. That's a cool accessory.
Hold on a second. I got something for you.
All right.
This past weekend, I was at my friend's house, and he's got a really big yard full of really cool old school stuff. Check out what I got for you.
You are serious about this fire truck thing.
I am.
Wow. Tom is all charged up about this. You know, he took the time to take photos and do all these concepts, and he's got the fire hose to prove it. So like your sketch is showing, I'm just hanging right back here, right?
That's right.
Groovy.
When I saw the fire hoses, it really inspired me.
Let's do that. Let's make a hot rod fire truck. I think it's cool. Kids are gonna dig it.
Right.
It's a charity thing. Just keep a good vibe going. We don't need no flat black rat rod. We'll make a cool fire truck.
I'm glad you're into it. Sometimes it just takes a big hose.
Sometimes that's all you need. This thing is pretty much a roller. The suspension works. I finished all the welding on the front, and this rear is good to go. I got the drive shaft in. You see the brakes are in. It steers. So without the bed sides, it's incomplete. We got to get them done today.
Yeah, all right.
Clock's ticking, man.
Let's get on it.
Today's Tuesday. Your show is Sunday, right?
That's right.
We got this. No problem. When we set up the channeling in the body, we both agreed right away, that's the look. But now we have to set up the bed to complement that. So it's really just a bunch of big, heavy pieces. We need to kind of put them in place, mock it up, and just see what looks right. Since we're not welding the bed sides right to the door jamb, we need to offset it. I'm gonna cut a piece of square tube in half, make a little offset bracket, and weld them on. Yeah, see, I was thinking it would go right inside there. You stand back and look at the height, and I'll put a clamp on it. The whole thing is Tom drew a great illustration. He made a great rendering of what this thing could be, so I'm holding up the metal, asking him what's right. Do you think this height is good, or should it come up a bit?
No, I like the height right there. The back, I think, needs a little bit of a rake, though. Right now, they're nice and flat and level, which gives a kind of a hokey look that I'm not crazy about. This thing needs to be raked.
Hold it. Okay, so that's parallel with the door jamb. That's how it wants to be.
I can already tell that's it.
I'm not 100% sure on the rake of this thing. I want to get the bed sides fully mocked up and then decide if it's right or not. We started by shortening the bed sides 11 inches. Looks like a garbage truck. I think they're too long.
This is a really critical moment because this entire time we've been wanting to balance between fire truck and hot rod, and it can go either way. It's really long and it's looking like a fire truck.
You can see here, the handrails, once they come out on their little stanchion, they're way out. All right, so that's the height. See what I'm saying? It's almost like the handrail needs to be just inboard of this. I'd like to see the handrail here. This is a big truck, and we're shortening it, I don't know how much, a couple feet. So that's the way it works, you know? It's trial and error. See, man, that's where we're at. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, then it's just past the tire. Initially, you might think the bed looks a bit too short, but this handrail comes out another 7 or 8 inches. Once you put the handrail on, you could tell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Now we're getting somewhere.
And you were dead on about the amount we needed to take out of the back to make it look good.
This is gonna be cool, man.
Yeah.
Real cool.
The back piece of the bed has all the characteristics that tell the story of it being a fire truck. So without it, it's not a fire truck anymore.
This was a big step to get accomplished, but there's still something I'm not sure about. As soon as Tom walked out the door, I start staring at this truck, just giving it the old stink eye. I chose to take a few side shots with the camera, plug it in the computer, and just stare at it. Fell asleep in the chair. 3 hours later, I knew it was wrong. Started to have nightmares, and it was all about this fire truck and people laughing. I had to come out and remedy it. It was not gonna work. It was not gonna be okay. I came back out here and I've been working ever since. This angle here was coming down into the door. The body came up a little and the bed came down a little. So you can see now, these lines are almost parallel. You see some cartoon hot rods used in that style bed. It just wasn't working for this fire truck. It's way more conservative because the body is up and the angle of the bed is perfect. It's funny. That's why they make these things, these squares, because you know what? Sometimes square is okay. Did the inevitable before we got even further into it. I cut everything back off and repositioned it. Like a 3 a.m. roll call. I woke up, realized the course of action, and followed through. It's been a long day. It's subtle, but in the end, it makes a big difference. The good news is, with all that past us, I got all this structure in. You can see there's gonna be a deck here. You could sit or stand. This is all 1-inch square tube. It's pretty thick, it's 13 gauge wall. So even my big oaf of a self can move around pretty easily on it without even having any wood. I'm going real simple on the interior here. It's gonna be wooden floors, just like a lot of the old cars. Cut some plywood, screw it down to the frame, and put a surface on it. Tom came in just as I was finishing the bed. I'm excited to see what he thinks.
Yeah, I noticed we got some wood going on here.
Notice anything else different? I need you to stand back and focus. Feel the force. Something changed.
I could tell.
I spent a lot of time on this, so I'm gonna let Tom stew on it for a while. There's something very different.
Besides the steering wheel being missing.
Yes.
Ian's telling me there's something else that he's done to the truck. I can't really put my finger on it. I could tell there's something different, but whatever it is, I'm just not seeing it. It's not popping out at me. Is it shorter?
I don't know. It's up to you to decide. I decided I had enough fun at Tom's expense, so I'm gonna tell him what went down. Remember how much we dug the bed coming in raked?
Yeah.
I made him straight. I took the rake out of it. Yeah. And I just relaxed the angle, and now you can see the bed is almost parallel with the door top.
It's done so well. You did such a good job that I couldn't even notice. It looks like this is how it's supposed to be, so.
Well, there you go.
Good job.
I've been really moving on the fabrication on this. Tom shows up again, and he's got some treasure.
Aha, check it out.
What you got there?
I got some lights. Headlights, tail lights.
All kinds of shapes.
Yep.
Tom walks in with a bundle of stuff. Right away, I see these old school headlights. They look like some kind of an early 30s vehicle. These are cherry, super old school.
These are like late 30s Buick or Olds.
Huh, yeah, they got the deluxe chromie on there.
Yeah.
And you got the trim rings.
Yep.
Sweet. Right away, looking at these headlights, I think they're perfect. He's got a bunch of other stuff. The taillights, he's got a couple choices. These are freaking military surplus.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
They got like blackout lenses on them. Where'd you get these?
Out in the desert. One of them.
I think I need to go out to the desert more. They got all the good stuff.
Yeah, let me know.
Crazy. I think these are the taillights. These are totally classy. And obviously that's the headlight set. The grill I got from Bill, a guy I got the truck from. Tom pretty much got the headlights covered. I'm gonna show him this awesome grill I got from my friend Bill. The cool factor about this front grill shell is that it was the original grill for the chassis. So it's got that old school big truck look. Putting the headlights next to it right away, I could tell this was the setup. It just needs to be radically sectioned. That's good, man. That's a pretty mean looking nose.
Yeah, it is.
This is gonna have to get sectioned way down. So we'll use this feature and then these two lights plugging in right on the side and we'll do whatever we need to cut off the bottom. But that's pretty freaking deluxe, man. I think these will be perfect. The first thing we did was set up the grill with a level across it just to get a ballpark estimate of how much this thing has to be sectioned.
9.5 inches.
I'm thinking the same way we accomplished the body and the bed, we're gonna do the same with the grill. We're gonna cut off a little, fit it up as many times as it takes until it looks right. Well, let's shorten up the inside and then we'll just cut the bottom off of this. I got plenty other stuff to do. I'm handing off the cutting wheel to Tom. Let him get dirty.
Ian puts that job in my hands, and I don't know, I'm partly excited, at the same time, I'm partly scared. Ian has, without a doubt, given me one of the most important pieces to work on. And yeah, if I mess it up, well, he only has one person to blame.
Hey, Tom, don't mess that up, all right?
Yeah, You know, I'm cutting up an old school grill that's really cool looking, and you know, that's a little bit of a challenge. It's kind of tricky.
So while Tom's handling all the technical stuff, I'm gonna get busy with a bunch of trash. This thing needs a seat. I got a couple old parts and a couple leftover handrails. This is the structure or the tube frame for, it looks like an old school bus seat. I stripped it down and it had this tube frame under it. I need it wider. The old handrail sections from the fire truck bed sleeve on it perfectly.
One thing that Ian's really good at is taking old stuff and making it usable again. Rather than trashing it, you know, he makes use out of it.
Anybody could go to the metal supply and get these parts. I got it right here, some old fire truck and some old school bus seat. It's gonna work. There you have it, one full custom seat frame. Well, I've been working. Tom's making his initial cuts on the front grille. It needs to be shorter, so I'm gonna make some marks for him to follow.
Ian breaks out the soapstone and starts drawing some stuff on it, some lines, cut here, cut there.
So you cut right like that.
Wait, where do you want me to cut it at? It's kind of confusing me. He's got lines over here, lines over there. They're intersecting. It looks like a map of South Central or something. I'm not sure what's up. This is the I guess, caveman style.
You're gonna come in like this, right? You see a guy here, you turn left. You see a guy there. As you're coming around here,
right. You cut that side. I'm sure in Ian's mind, he knew exactly what he was doing. That's why he wrote the lines the way he did. He knew he has a vision. A little scared here. I'm trying to keep up, and I'm like, wow, can I do this? It's a tricky thing going on right here. I hope that's what he wanted. I make my first couple cuts. We take it back over to the fire truck to mock it up and see how it's gonna fit.
So standing back looking at it, I think the height works. But I think that grill still has to come in.
Bring it in behind the axle?
Yeah, then it's gonna look like the suicide axle's proper. Just still, proportion-wise, the engine, you're seeing the radiator, right? The engine's just kind of hanging in space. With the grill ahead of the axle, there was plenty of clearance for the suspension to move. But as soon as we wanted to set it back, the axle, the shackles, everything was gonna smash this thing as soon as it hit a bump. So I think the only way we're gonna make this work is to cut like a V shape in the front. I think my lines will make a little more sense this time. You want to cut it, or you want me to cut it?
I'm letting you cut this. Ian lines it up for some more cuts, and this time I'm like, oh, hang on a sec. It's getting a little bit detailed here. So I hand it back to Ian and say, you cut it. I'm not messing this thing up. It's in your hands again now, pal.
I think all this cutting was starting to get to him. He was a little hesitant to go for the radical sectioning. Now he's even more hesitant to go for the V cut, so I'm gonna pull a few tricks for him and help him out. Hopefully we got it right this time. We're running out of grill.
Set it up on the truck, and it looks great.
Right off the bat, it worked. It's gonna need a little more trimming, but this is the look. Yeah, now look at the line from the bed. It's all facing down. Standing back looking at it, the grill is set back inside the front tires. It looks like a mean machine.
The grill of a hot rod's a very important piece. You know, if you mess it up, it's obvious. You know, it's right out there in front. We cut a lot off of it, but it's still looking cool.
Tom's got to hit the road. There's a ton of little details to finish up. I got about 2 days to do it. Just gonna make it happen. I made a lot of progress on the truck and got my ace, Jackie Rabbit. She's here doing her clean and paint detail. She's clear coating the body. She's putting on all the fasteners. Everything that looks pretty. While Jackie's handling all this paint and detail, I get to get this exhaust built. Fortunately, my friend Don donated this set of headers. Unfortunately, for me, they're for a small block Chevy, and I got the big. These look like your typical headers from, say, a T-bucket kit car. You know, you see them all over the place in the 60s and 70s, people running these headers that come out, down, and they got exhaust dumps. They are the perfect look, but the one big problem is they don't fit this engine. When you look at the exhaust ports on the head, you can see the outer ones are almost in alignment, but the inner ones you could see are way wider. So the first step is to cut off the flanges on the header. I got another set that are bolted to the engine, and I need to make a match. Now I need to take these two center ones and split them wider. I think I'm gonna have to torch these bends to anneal them. If it was a nice chromy finish, we'd ruin that, but these are rusty. I can get away with it. Metal is malleable. You just gotta warm it up. You can move it around like clay. So these tubes, as strong as they are, as soon as you heat them up, you can reform them. But see, look, it moves right over. My whole process with this was to try to gain leverage so that last bend, the hardest one, would have a bunch of stuff to work off of. So this one, you can see already, it's definitely a good 1.5 to 2 inches out of alignment, but it's also got to come up. So this tube needs to stretch up and forward. I plan on accomplishing that with a big old torch and a big old pry bar. Now you got a 3 against 1 scenario. I heat that last one up, it's got to give. The thing that was bothering me most about this exhaust mod was that you had new material welded right up to old. Aesthetically, this whole truck has to come together as one. If you put one shining, gleaming chrome thing, it kind of outdoes the rest. Hey, move it. You don't know what this could do to a furry animal. Stand back. So my plan is to just torch the heck out of it. These headers have been on a hot running engine for decades. I'm just gonna simulate that with my big old blowtorch and make it all happy. This thing is pretty much nailed. Car show's tomorrow. I'm gonna take it up there, show off to Tom, to kids, whoever else is there. Let's party. My favorite thing about this is the transformation. You saw what was pulled off the hill. Look what's hanging out in the shop right now. Before I take this thing to Tom's car show, I wanted my friend Bill to come in and see the transformation. Hey there.
Wow, Ian.
Welcome back. I went for it, man.
You did. You know, typical Ian, it's amazing. He shortened it, widened it, lowered it, resprung it, resuspension, and it's really amazing, really amazing. You know, when this was sitting on the hill, I was hoping that it wouldn't just sit there. I was hoping it would get back together.
Yeah, really the only part I didn't get from you was the engine, the headlights, and the seat.
It just looks great. I love the originality of the 1944 Seagraves fire truck.
The wood deck and the back step solidifies the fire truck look. All this thing needs is a couple firemen on the back step. Fire hoses are in place, it's ready for action. I got this thing wired up and fired up. It's driving around, I'm ready to take it to the car show.
Today, we're here at the CLA 4th Annual Spring Car Show and Fundraiser. We're raising money to help send kids to summer camp.
It's a total down-home community thing, lots of cool cars, barbecue, bands, you name it. Tom's put this car show on for a few years, and it just keeps getting bigger and better, so to be a part of it and bring a fresh build out, it's super cool, helping out a friend. Tom hadn't seen this thing in a few days, so when I pulled up this morning, he was really excited to check it out.
Oh man, I was blown away. It turned out awesome, man. Well, this thing seems to be a crowd pleaser. People are digging this hot rod fire truck. They're loving everything about it.
I came out here specifically to see this car. What I like about it is he's not afraid to go with something big and bodacious. When people actually see it in person and get to see the tactile feel and see it roll down the street, but you can't help but to look at it and go, damn, that's awesome.
I just think the man's an artist. Just the total coolness of the whole deal. I was pretty blown away.
You know, every time I've worked with Ian, I bring something to the table, but I take something home too. I either learn something when it comes to how to build or artistically. It helps me grow as a hot rodder and a car builder myself.
Building a truck of this proportion is a pretty massive undertaking, especially in a time frame, but just like working out, you know, we got through this. It's on to the next, bigger and better.
Full Custom Garage!